Hello, Khushi? Khushi? Hello?
Yes, doctor.
I am Dr. Sareen. How are
Yes,
you?
doctor.
Fine?
I'm
Today
good,
is the
sir. I'm good.
दूसरा दिन है, तो first lecture will be Dr. Parmesh sir का पहला होगा.
हाँ
And
जी
then
सर.
there will be recording and then Dr. Atanu Batra. ठीक है ना?
ठीक है सर.
Okay? Okay?
ठीक है सर. Okay सर.
Okay, okay. Welcome, sir. Atanu Batra, sir. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
How are you, sir? कैसे हैं?
Sir, fine. आज पूरा एलर्जी के लिए टफ चैलेंज है.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
India Pakistan cricket today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great.
Yes, sorry, yesterday I could not join because I was on the coming back from neurology national. उसीलिए.
सही है.
Physical हो रहा था न्यूरोलॉजी का.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. आज परमेश सर स्टार्ट करेंगे सर. फर्स्ट उनका लेक्चर रखा है, देन रिकॉर्डिंग और फिर सर आपका रखा है ना, क्रॉनिक एरिया पे आपका.
ओके,
थैंक यू.
रेडी सर. आप थोड़ा स्क्रीन शेयर कर लेना. डीआईपी टीम
हाँ,
चेक कर
Yes, sir. Go ahead with it.
ओके, फाइन. It's fine, no?
Yes, sir. Working fine.
Perfect. Now this is the slide share. Perfect.
Okay. Upin sir.
Good evening,
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, Atul sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Okay.
So meet you, Varnasi. Varnasi will meet you, sir. Physical will meet.
Physical meeting कब होगा?
7th November.
Yes, 7th November. Yeah, 7th November. 6 तारीख नहीं, 6 तारीख को मिलेंगे. हम 6 तारीख पहुंच जाएंगे.
बिल्कुल sir. 6 तारीख will enjoy evening there. Yeah.
No, but yesterday I had gone to the neurology chapter का national conference में. Somehow there were very few people.
Yeah.
Physical conference में.
But there are people still they're afraid. They are afraid. The phobia is there.
Actually, now in Kolkata there is a peak after the post puja.
Yeah.
There is a spike in number of cases. I don't know after Diwali अभी whole India में ऐसे होगा कि नहीं मालूम नहीं.
Maybe.
We don't know, sir. Third wave, don't know. Variant, Delta variant, third wave.
डेल्टा से तो ठीक है, निपट लिया सब कोई. अभी डेल्टा प्लस से चिंता है ज्यादा.
Yeah, I know.
क्या
सर एक्चुअली क्या है, जो इम्यूनो कॉम्प्रोमाइज है ना, जिनकी इम्यूनिटी कम है, उनको सबसे डेंजर है थोड़ा सा. सबसे
it is like a swine flu, sir. Swine flu, like a swine flu.
बिल्कुल exactly sir.
We have to take a booster dose every year. Swine flu, like.
Yes,
the
sir.
flu I'm taking, you have to take COVID flu vaccine every year. They enjoy. Go away.
Yes,
That is, I think, we have to adjust now.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Exactly true.
I mean, it has come to stay.
आपने अपना कार्यकाल बहुत अच्छे तरीके से निकाला, नहीं? Very energetic, है ना? As a vice president, wonderfully. And you were participating in most of the events. आपकी जो events थी, इसकी आप हर एक में join करते थे. Wonderful.
We tried to make it as comfortable for everyone. नहीं तो, लेकिन मुझे तो लग रहा है this year the number of activities has been much more.
बहुत ज़्यादा हुई है सर.
All over India, it has been much more. Yeah. इतना पढ़ाई तो कभी नहीं किया.
कभी नहीं हुआ सर. Last
MBBS days में भी नहीं किया इतना पढ़ाई.
इतना academic activity पहली बार हो, because iPad से इससे virtual से I think first time in history of IAP, so many seminars, so many webinars, so many meetings, so many academic activity. Every day is academic activity going on.
सर फिजिकल में क्या मस्ती ज्यादा होती थी, एकेडमिक्स कम होती थी, नहीं? एकेडमिक्स ज्यादा है, नहीं? सही है ना?
फिजिकल बोल तो घूमना होता ना सर, घूमना रहता ना।
बस घूमना और डिनर, बस है ना,
Yeah.
घूमना।
This way we are healthier also. बाहर का खाना वाना बंद, सब होटल का।
सब चेंज रहता है सर, some change, routine for change. Yeah.
आपके यहाँ करवा चौथ भी आज सर, हमारे यहाँ ना करवा चौथ
ना हर जगह ही करवा चौथ है,
सब जगह ना।
हाँ।
नारायण रेड्डी सर, आपके यहाँ मनाते हैं करवा चौथ?
या बनाए थे सर।
मनाते हैं। आप व्रत रखते हैं, नहीं रखते हैं? मैडम ही रखती हैं। एक बार मैंने कोशिश करी थी रखने की, बट मैं रख नहीं पाया, मैं ना इतनी देर नहीं रख।
हमको तो नहीं होता सर।
No, I don't know the basics of it, but it's just fasting, no? And till the moon is available.
Till the moon is available, they are in the morning. They can eat anything before they see the stars, and then after that there is a fast.
अच्छा, cloudy sky होने से क्या होगा?
Cloudy sky जब दिखेगा तभी होगा सर, तभी होगा।
That's very risky. अगर नहीं दिखा, good evening sir.
Good evening sir. Good
evening.
Welcome sir. Parmesh sir.
Welcome sir.
Blessings. Thank you sir.
सर का लगता है नेटवर्क। हाँ अभी सर अनम्यूट।
सर अनम्यूट करें।
See you all. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes sir.
Yes sir.
Good evening sir.
Hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes sir. We can hear you.
Yes sir. Welcome sir.
Slide. Can I give slides?
सर की स्लाइड शेयर करनी है परमेश सर।
सर आपका नेटवर्क थोड़ा स्लो लग रहा है। DIP team please help sir.
Who is that IAP lady? I can put my slides.
खुशी अभी अवेलेबल
डॉक्टर।
हाँ ये परमेश सर है ना, इनकी स्लाइड चेक कर लें और सर को हेल्प करें थोड़ी ना।
हाँ सर so you have to see in the down bar there is an option of share screen.
Okay, share screen. Okay, fine.
Yeah, just click on that.
Okay.
So have you opened your presentation before?
Or on the below?
Okay, so just click on share then.
No, I have not sent it.
Okay.
Share then. Yeah.
Blue button. Share. Yeah.
Yes. Now visible sir.
Yes sir, perfect. Now you have to open your presentation.
Slides here. Okay. What will go for this one? Slides open. Open again. Yeah.
Permit sir, stop sharing, then first open the slides.
I am opening this one, yes. Yeah, opening.
And then sir reduce it at lower end.
Yeah.
हेलो हाँ कैसे हो? सब ठीक है दीपक? बस सब बढ़िया, सब ठीक है, तुम बताओ सब ठीक है, पढ़ाई अच्छी चल रही है?
Okay. Okay, guys.
खुशी, खुशी,
Seriously.
अगर सर
Yes,
को
sir.
हाँ,
Okay.
यस होगी ना, स्टार्ट हो गई स्क्रीन शेयरिंग। अगर सर को प्रॉब्लम आ रही है ना, तो इनका बैकअप कर दो तुम ना, तुम वहां से ऑपरेट कर, आ गया आ गया आ गया आ गया, यस यस, वेरी गुड आ गया सर, यस।
Okay.
You can make it full
share?
screen.
Full screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll make it full screen. Here it is.
Just click on the
Yeah.
option play or something. Okay, I guess.
सर स्लाइड शेयर पे ना, ऊपर होता है सर, ऊपर थर्ड या फोर्थ में आता है आई थिंक, स्लाइड शेयर।
What is that? Stop share?
यस,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Stop
perfect.
share.
परफेक्ट सर,
देवेंद्र सर स्टार्ट कर दो।
Fine.
स्टार्ट कर दें।
हाँ।
परमेश सर है,
इंट्रोड्यूस करो सर
Yes.
को, सर।
यस सर। परमेश सर, इट रिमाइंड्स मी, एक बार नागाराजू सर ने आपकी स्लाइड्स ऑपरेट की थी वंस, इफ यू रिमेम्बर।
Yeah.
यस
I know.
इनिशियल डेज में, आई थिंक इट वाज इन फरवरी और एक बार आपको प्रॉब्लम आई थी। सो स्टार्ट करते हैं सर, उपिन नारायण रेड्डी सर।
स्टार्ट करो सर, स्टार्ट करो।
स्टार्ट कर दें। ओके सो आई वेलकम यू ऑल इन दिस CADE module workshop. It is run every Saturday and Sunday, and today is the second day. Yesterday we had very good deliberation by Dr. Sukumaran sir on allergic rhinitis, Dr. Upenarayan Reddy sir on anaphylaxis, and Dr. Jose sir on food allergy. Now today we have Dr. Parmesh sir for the air pollution and allergy, and then we'll have the recorded video of late Dr. Nagaraju sir on allergy skin testing, and then Dr. Atanu Badra sir will be deliberating his talk on the chronic urticaria. So we will start today with Dr. Parmesh sir. Sir, Dr. Parmesh sir needs no introduction. Just remember his name, Parmesh. Parmesh is like Param Ish, we say when we break into these words. So it is he's like a god. He's a god for the allergy and immunology. He has provided so much of the blessings for the CADE module every time. We remember Dr. Upin Narayan Reddy is party to this, but because of the sudden demise of Dr. Nagaraju sir, we were very much disappointed what to do, how to do, and it is Dr. Parmesh sir who made us confident and gave us confidence. Yes, you please go on, and I am always with you, and he's providing his always blessings. Whenever we invite me in, he comes and he's constantly he's guiding myself, Dr. Upinaran Reddy and Dr. Jose. Always, all the team, we are being guided. That's why we are able to bring this message to each and every part of the country, which was the desire of late Dr. Nagaraju sir. Dr. Parmesh sir needs no introduction. He is the father of immunology and allergy. So sir, we invite you. In fact, we are very lucky to have your lecture today. In fact, you are obliging us by delivering your talk on the allergy and air pollution. Sir, please come and start delivering your talk. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for your kind introduction, Devendra Sarin. And in the absence of the central office bearers and the local branch from West Bengal office bearers and the Cosmopolitan City, Kolkata and Hooghly branches office bearers, my brothers sisters of the IAP, and in the leadership of Upinaran Reddy and Devendra Sarin, they're taking this module. This module is the brainchild of Nagaraj, late Nagaraju. And we're all three trios, Parmesh, Nagaraj, and Sukumaran. We're all together. We're all working for a cause. And definitely I miss my dear friend and brother, like always. He worked this module within a week period, as a matter of fact. We will learn each other how the air pollution has an impact on the health, how best we can able to learn ourselves and mitigate the problem to save the life, save the health of the people on the earth. Having said that, I like to start the program. What can I press it now, sir? The first slide? Or share, shall I put it there? Share this screen. Shall I put the screen?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, it's coming, sir.
Yeah, can I make the full screen?
Right, sir.
Okay.
It's perfect.
Now, yes, sir. Now, today we are going to learn, I think, impact of the air pollution on allergies. And while remembering the great souls we have lost, I like to move forward with the blessings of all my colleagues, and they're really helping me greatly about this aspect. So before that, we like to learn some background of the air pollution. What is the data we have? What is the impact we have? As you all aware, air pollution, global warming, climate change are the interrelated, having great impact, and is a non-communicable disease on human health. Airway allergies are the earliest onset non-communicable environmental diseases with significant socio-economic health burden of the country, and as a matter of fact, globally. Airway allergies such as asthma, allergic rhinitis and its comorbidities include otitis media and sinusitis, sleep disorder breathing, and chronic cough are the global epidemic, where women and children suffer the most. Nearly 70% of the disease caused by the environmental pollution are non-communicable diseases. In them, 70% of these non-communicable diseases are from the air pollution. The outdoor air pollution and indoor air pollution contribute nearly 8 million deaths globally, as a matter of fact. The fossil fuel alone, using coal and petrol and diesel, cause premature deaths, contributing 79.16 lakhs in Asia, 26.6 lakhs in India, is from the fossil fuel only, from the coal and from the petrol. Welfare losses from the air pollution is significantly very high, contributing about 6.2% of the global economic output. The adaptation of the climate change is very much needed, and it's a primary prevention for the allergic airway diseases as well. If you look at the disease pattern in India for the past 26 years, the communication is coming down from 60% to 33%. The non-communicable diseases increasing 30 to 55%, as asthma, allergic rhinitis, cancer, a lot of things, as a matter of fact. What is the magnitude of the problem? Studies have shown In 1994, the allergic rhinitis was 20.5%. In 2004, it has gone up to. And that is a general pediatric population. And asthmatic children, it was 75% in 1999. In 2011 is 99.6, but now it's almost 100%. Every child has got some of the other allergic rhinitis, whether mild, moderate, severe. But if you take lower airway allergy, that's asthma, we have data from the past 4 decades in Bangalore. From 1979, it was 9%. It's steadily gone up in 2 decades to 29.5%. Afterward, we thought it's going to go up. It's plateaued. So now we have got 2016, got 28%. Why it is plateaued? We met all over the world, in WHO, in Australia. We felt it's a saturation of the genetically inherited population. In future, you may not be able to see the peak. Maybe you can see small peaks here and there, as a matter of fact. However, people who continue to expose the pollution, their persistent asthma are going to increase. So as a matter of fact, the persistent asthma, where they need a controller medication, constant medication, has increased 0.5% between 1994 to 2009. And in addition to that, persistent severe asthma, where we need more hospitalization, the control is not that sufficient enough. And the mortality is very high in them. It has gone up from 4% to 11%. I think all this asthma is really changing the demography of the city of Bangalore, and air pollution is the main contributing factor. Further to that one, the chronic cough, the most common cause is the allergy. In 1999, it was 8%. In 2017, it's gone up to 21.25%. And when we followed this guideline, every year there is 0.5% increase in the chronic cough. But the comorbidities contribute significantly to the morbidity and mortality, as a matter of fact. In that one, average children, 8% of the children, there are the snorers. And in the 1% is the obstructive sleep apnea syndrome. On the contrary, children who have chronic cough, they have the comorbidity like sleep disorder breathing. 27% of the people have got snoring. And I have sleep disorder breathing. In them, 42% are the snorer, mouth breathe is 43%, and bruxism, they grind the teeth at night time, 17%. Eye rubbing, conjunctivitis, part and parcel of allergic rhinitis, 27.5%. However, 3.2% of the children have laryngeal dyskinesia, where the present acute severe asthma, the emergency, have been treated like asthma, but laryngeal dyskinesia. This is one thing we have to keep it in mind. The magnitude of the problem, what you are going to face, and scenario here. Learn each other. This adolescent girl of 6, having had moderate to severe persistent allergic rhinitis, and she is on inhaled nasal corticosteroid for the past 3 months, and her compliance technique is ensured, she is doing the right way. Despite this fact, that symptoms worsened over the last few weeks, and she has visited the doctor. And also, during this time, my doctor gave her the regular antihistaminics, and she started taking that one, still not responding. However, you look at the other history, her sleep is disturbed. That's why the person has one of the common problem is moderate to severe, is where the symptoms is troublesome, she don't have good sleep, her work is hampered, the symptoms are disturbing, and also she's unable to concentrate. These are 2 most important symptoms of the persistent moderate to severe asthma. And her skin test has shown house dust mite is the cause, about 8 to 8 millimeters. So she is an atopic allergy to the dust mites. Further to that, we requested the environmental related issue. Her elder brother is for asthma. So there is a genetic background is there, atopic is there. Grandfather easily shifted in her house, and he's a smoker of the BD, tobacco. And naturally, tobacco is the worst pollutant, as a matter of fact. And they have a poorly lit house. Sunlight is very poor, as a matter of fact, not having. That also enhances the allergic problem. And in the month of October, November, exactly in the past, she's been suffering. As a matter of fact, each country have got pollens different. October, November is a month predominantly for two things. The temperature is getting cooled. Usually we have at the season, mainly the grass pollens will be coming there. In addition to that, she's from Delhi area, and there this burning of the agriculture waste come there for a few days. It contributes significantly to the air pollution. And also cold season, usually that's what, along with that one, the dust mite can be the cause. And the urban area, air pollution is Delhi. Delhi is one of the worst hit city in the air pollution. And also nearby house, there is a construction. Environmental issues, everything is there into genetic pattern contributing that one. That's why she's not getting responded for the medication, what she's been taking, what our doctor added antihistaminics, that's not working. And you tackle the environmental. Let's look into the forward for what are the environmental issues. So in this question is it genetic pattern? Which is causing all this problem? Of course, all of them contribute. She's genetically related to that. She has her brother and she is an atopic variety. She has dust mite allergy, and she comes from a highly polluted city, Delhi. And also Delhi, highly polluted construction is going around, and dust mite is only ventilated. Nearly 60% of the is the dust mite. So all these things contribute. We'll discuss all these things as we go along. So when you say air pollution, and air pollution, what causing the air pollution? What was there earlier? What is it now? Earlier is mainly from the four causes. Volcanic eruptions, number one. Number two, from the human and animal breathing. Number three is from the decaying of the dead material in the environment. Fourth thing was the natural forest fires. In addition to that, current situation is what has been happening. We are adding to that deforestation, where industry, community pollution, deforestation, and rapid urbanization. Then comes the traffic, heavy traffic, where the emissions is coming from the automobile emission, transport contributing the factor. Lastly, the non-vegetarian population is increasing. The animal farming is increased. They contribute. All these five other contribute to the natural airway pollution what we had. Up till mid-18, it was all right. Then the industrialization started, pollution started as a matter, mid-18 onwards. So various chemicals are there in the pollution. Some of these are all pollutants from the primary source. Some of the secondary pollution will be found in the primary group, which are major in them is the ozone, as a matter of fact. Having learned the pollution, what is the cause for it, what are the various chemicals, what are the secondary chemicals, they're all contributing significantly to the airway allergy. Let's go further to learn each other. The outdoor air pollution, automobiles is the major contributing factor in our city as a matter. I'm sure major cities have the same thing apart from the other sources. So automobile exhaust have got three chemicals which affects the airways. The major effect in the airways are the oxides of nitrogen, sulfur dioxide, ozone, and suspended particulate matter, and photochemical accidents. The toxic substance, they don't have any effect on the airways, are the carbon monoxide and the lead. The cancer-producing carcinogenics are the benzene, polyaromatic hydrocarbon, and aldehydes. And other source would be the power plants, open burning solid waste, construction-related activities, mining activities, pollens and fungi from the atmosphere, they contribute 7.5%. But well, coming to the indoor air pollution, we have aerobiologicals and irritants. Dust mite, as I said, I being the principal investigator at the air and aero allergens and human health for the Ministry of Health and Government of India, We identified dust mite is 60% of the time dust mite. Cockroaches 25%. Pollen, sometimes from outdoor, indoor also come from the cross ventilation, 7.5%. Fungus, 7.5%. Pets ownership is only 5%. And virus and bacteria in children less than 5 years, 40% are triggered by the viral and bacterial infection. Mostly viral, 1 or 2 bacteria as a mycoplasma is the only one. Other irritants are the tobacco smoke, the worst variety, mosquito coil, and what we are using, cooking fuel, non-commercial cooking fuel, the major quantifier, the indoor air pollutant, formaldehyde, organic modern way, what we are using, that the carpet, heavy draperies, furniture, contributing significantly about those things. Having learned the source of air pollution from the outdoor, indoor pollution, let's move further. The quality of air is expected. As you all know, what we clean air, nitrogen is 70, 80, 80%, 20% oxygen. Carbon dioxide is 0.04%. As you are aware, air is a mixture of many gases, moisture, and some inert gases, what you heard about it. Water is 0.5%, and all of them contribute about a partial of 760 millimeter of mercury for the gas exchange. So, in addition to that, we have various pollutants listed bottom: nitrous oxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, ozone, carbon monoxide, methane. You all heard about it. So, nature has a self-purification process. It heals itself, take care of the. But imbalance is causing the problem. We produce 3 times more the pollutant than the Mother Earth can able to manage. That is what's causing the problem. So air pollution has an impact from womb to tomb as a matter. The quality of air, what we measure, determines these are all the qualities. What we doing it, suspended particulate matter, 10 micron, 2.5 micron. Some people separately given 2 names, but so I made it as 1. Sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, ammonia, liquid. These are all the 78 items we measure in the air pollution. And each one depends on how much we have. If the index is only 1 to 15, 50, less than 50 air quality index, as per Central Pollution Control 2018, that our air is good in our city. 51 to 100 is satisfactory. 100 to 200, moderate. 201 to 300, poor. 301 to 400, very poor air quality. 400 to 500 is severe polluted air quality we have. Among the 20 polluted cities in the world, 13 of them are in India. Delhi, the worst variety, next comes to Bangalore, as a matter of fact. Bombay, Kolkata, and major cities are the worst, as a matter of fact. But now WHO air quality guideline has changed 25th of September 2021. We used to keep double the number of suspended particulate matter. We used to keep it as 50. It's okay in 24 hours. Why WHO has kept it only 20? Now the WHO said from 25, let her cut down 50. 40% reduction they have cut down the level. We have to work on that as a matter of fact. So PM10 from 50 to 45 they cut down, and ozone they cut down. 8 hour is 100. They maintain the same thing. Oxide of nitrogen also they kept it as 25, and sulfur dioxide as a 40. Carbon monoxide as a 4.1. These are all the things, they have milligrams, they have maintained it. So they have reduced the data. We have to work on that one as a matter of fact. Having learned that one, womb to tomb, let's see it. The environmental exposure constituting the prenatal epigenetic changes in the immunity. Genetics is brick and mortar. Environment is an architect to bring out the allergic disease. Air pollution, agriculture, food, microbiota contribute for early immune programming and development of fetus by epigenetic changes, which has a lasting effect in the child's future life. So if you look at the 4 contributing factors in the mother's womb, and food is good, food is there, they're beneficial, and microbiota, natural way, good enough, living in the agriculture farm area with pets and animals and all that, they're good for the allergic diseases if the mother exposed to those things. However, air pollution is the worst variety. tobacco, and other contributing factors are the worst variety. And also, if you look at the air pollution wise, what we want to do in future, we want to minimize the air pollution, such as asthma, allergy, by way of primary prevention, secondary prevention, and tertiary prevention. How do you do that? So genetically, so that they don't expose to that, so that avoid exposure to various pollutants, various allergens. So that we can, many times it may not be possible. So that is primary prevention. We have to try best possible way. Even with that one, if they sensitize, if genetically sensitization happen, then we have to work further so that they won't develop any symptoms. That again, environmental issues we have to work under with allergens and various irritant pollutants. So even that one, you cannot avoid it. Your genetically susceptibility enhanced, sensitization enhanced, then you develop symptom development. So we have to work further to reduce the environmental issues so that you don't get too frequent symptoms. So that is what environmental and allergens equally important in prevention of the primary prevention, secondary prevention, tertiary prevention. That's what we want to highlight, the air pollutant allergic diseases. Having learned that one, genetic will come there. As you know, it is primarily the environmental issues causing the problem because same genetic pattern. So there are about 63, there are 53 genetic varieties are there. As a matter of fact, the airway remodeling genes definitely signifies development of asthma. Airway responsive, earlier it used to say the maternal gene is more allergenic in impacting the child than the paternal gene. The many of most of the time, father comes seeing the doctors only 8% of the time in India. Only mother comes either with the grandparents or with the neighbor. Grandparents, the father side, used to say, mothers means, earlier when you say that, yes, sir, in our family, only. But now I say, the paternal gene is more important than the severity and all the frequency. No, sir, our son don't have it. Once in a while, he sees a certain season, it takes one puff. That's what we had explained. Now they claim their family is safe, not the wife family. These are all learning what we go, that one. We have to educate the society as a matter of, in lighter vein, we should educate the society. Yes, you continue to airway, you do this. And then antioxidant genes are available, producing oxidative stress and inflammation and asthma development, immune response, TH2 phenotypes, various things are genetic pattern. In addition, severe variety of asthma has been found by filagreen. And there are this is the skin-related issue. And another is there, as a matter of fact, that is another gene there where early onset asthma with airway remodeling happens. There are various genetic patterns are there, significantly they contribute in development of the allergy when they're exposed to various allergen effects. And in addition, genetic pattern can also change with the environment. Why do you say that? Because same genetic pattern, urban people suffer more than the rural people. Our say the same genetic. And also in urban area, outdoor pollution, we have enough data to substantiate. In indoor pollution, we have enough data to substantiate. Now, air pollutant immune response. How does the allergic, we are talking about allergen. This is pollen. Pollens are big size. Comes about 25 to 50 microns. They cannot enter the epithelium, as a matter of fact. So they also varies in temperature, relative humidity, and ultraviolet exposure. As we go further, we learn about it. In addition to the air pollution coming from the industry, they also pollute all those things, particulate matter, deposit on that one. In addition to the allergen itself, they have the enzymes and oxyphilin prototypes. These are all the one, when they hit the nasal mucous membrane, they deposit on the epithelium, and these enzymes damages the epithelium. When they damage the epithelium, between the cells, cell cement, then they have the entry. When they have the entry and produce various allergic diseases. Do they enter here, placement of this one, epithelium, there are dendritic cells. They are the customer. They'll take the major pollen, whatever it comes, they break them into epitopes. And the allergen specific immune response going to start. They will carry those things to the brain of the defense system. What is the brain of the defense? T cells. T from the thymic lymphocytes. T cell, there are major 4 varieties. One variety is the killer cell. Any cell, bacteria, virus, fungus, it kills. Anything, you don't spare anything, it kills. Further, T helper cell is that. T helper cell is the one, it just go and kill. It stimulates that and killing everything. But when the pollen comes, anything like that, then itself, it will cause the B cell, that is bone marrow lymphocyte, or basal lymphocyte. It will tell that, if it comes, you come here, and the helper cell tells the plasma cell, you produce IgA, IgG, IgM if it is an infection. If it's an allergic thing, you produce IgE antibodies. That's what the helper cell produces. And the antibody cells also stimulates. If the same thing stimulates, that one will keep on killing everything, you have autoimmune disease. Nature has to protect it. What does it happen? Then we have the T other cell, suppressor cell. T suppressor cells tells the stimulating cell, helper cell, please stop it. You are killing enough of things. Don't produce autoimmune. Your effect will be stopped right now. And also this balance is very much needed. The fourth one, T memory cell. Memory cell, if you have some infection, allergy, it remembers that. And anything new, things come second time, it will attack. So these memory cells are very much, this is how these 4 T cells work, anything like that. In T helper cell, we have TH1, TH2, TH1 for the infection, TH2 for the allergy. As we go, we'll learn about it. Now, if that cannot happen, then what happens? The brain, T lymphocyte, brain of the thing, it causes the mast cells. Mast cell is the muscle man of our immune system. What does? He has got various chemicals already prepared, histamine, all this thing in your granules. Immediately he produces if the allergen will be attached to those mast cells. If you expose anything, various chemicals it will produce and produce early reaction. And if he says it is not able to control, late phase comes there. Come on, these attack, kill these things. He produces a war in that area. He causes the eosinophils, the other cells, eosinophils, basophils, produce, so that they produce the inflammation, swelling of the airways and all this. That's the late phase reaction. This is how immune system will work. Further, what happens when they expose mast cell, with sensitized mast cell, second time allergen comes there, it will catches it. Immediately he produces the histamine, which is already prepared inside, and new production also will start working. What this histamine immediately does it, these chemicals, vasodilatation, fluid leakage, nerve irritation, that produces various cough symptoms, increased mucus secretion from the goblet cell. All these things will happen from the early phase reaction. How does it affect? This is called early phase reaction. How does it clinically they present with watering of the eyes, watering of the nose, sneezing starting, and nasal itching, and congestion, and irritating cough, and wheezing the lower respiratory, early phase. If they continue to expose the same thing, then the arachnoid as a cystine leukotriene, various interleukins will be coming, and cellular infiltration will start. As I said earlier, that is called late phase symptom. We start 8 hours later. You start. The persistent nasal congestion, bronchial constriction, persistent wheeze, airway remodeling happens, airway narrows further, cellular infiltration, if a muscle hypertrophy, and if it doesn't continue anything like that, airway remodeling going to happen. This is what early phase reaction, late phase reactions happen from the pollen. Say your viral infection damages the epithelium, then the pollen will enter 4 ways. With the pollen, how they produce allergy, this is what I highlighted. Having learned that one, let's learn which are all the factors which help us stimulate the TH1 lymphocyte. This is for the infection. TH2 lymphocyte, which is for the allergic reaction. This is a cytokine balance, as I mentioned about to you earlier. The preventive aspect, the TH1 are the preventer for allergy. What are the environment? Natural environmental, the farming, I showed you earlier, room to those are all protective. Living with animals and all that is protective. In that, endocrines will be very, very much there in that. Good causal ventilated house is good. And traditional food habits is good. You got more antioxidant. Presence of elder sibling is good because they bring a milder infection, you develop things. Because children less than 5 years, they expose minor infections and you develop defense system. Our defense system, what they get from the mother is last 6 months infection up to months. Later on, they have to expose 8 to 10 infections to reach the adult level by that 5 to 6 years. So any children coming from the school, milder effect they give, they can definitely develop a defense system. And early exposure to tuberculosis, measles, hepatitis A is a protective, as a matter of fact. Coronavirus seems to be protective effect. We are not confirmed about. They said it is definitely protective for asthma. We know it. Whether this route, we are not. I said seems to be Th1 stimulation. Wherever we will keep it that way. If we're bringing it in the farm and the stable where the animals are there, they suffer less. We have enough data to substantiate. For the allergic problem, which are all the promoters? The family history, yes. Urbanization lifestyle is good. Same genetic pattern, rural people suffer less. Depriving the protective germs in our body, because each cell of us, they got 10 germs. And depriving all they give our immune system, 90% of them, depriving of it definitely causing for us to produce exposure to allergy. Changing the habit, Western lifestyle, and contributing very well. Using widespread use of antibiotic, killing the normal protective germ. Pollution, both outdoor, indoor air pollution, especially most important, worried about environmental tobacco smoke is the worst for it, as a matter of fact. Along with the volatile organic compound, cooking fuel, what to use, non-commercial cooking fuel, exhaust from the automobiles. And among the virus infection, apart from measles, where they're protective, hepatitis A is protective, rhinovirus, influenza virus, respiratory syncytial virus, or the word NS. Nearly studies have shown, international studies have 25 to 50% asthma developed from the post-viral infection, wheezing and all those things. Our own study shows 28.5%. Cesarean section, where we deprive the baby mother's birth canal germs, they develop more asthma. And children who got in mother's womb elevated Ig, they are the high risk development of asthma. To the development asthma, let's look into how these pollutants are. In pollutants, we have particulate matter and the gases. There are two varieties. The particulate matter, various components we discussed about it. Bigger particles, they deposit predominantly upper respiratory tract from nose to the thoracic inlet. And the medium-sized particle, 2 to 10 micron, divides on the below the larynx up to the trachea, bronchi, and 0.5 to 2 micron size. They'll go to the periphery, smaller airways and alveoli, and also 2.5 micron. In addition to that, they cross the interstitium 7 layer. Then they enter the bloodstream. When they enter the bloodstream, they produce inflammation, the epithelium, platelet aggregation, small clot. Then they circulate all over the body, wherever the blood goes, and also affect the various other organs apart from the lungs. Lungs are the major organ where they get major impact as a matter of fact. 2.5 micron produces some other disease apart from the lung diseases. In contact to the gases, depending on the water solubility, sulfur dioxide is the most soluble. That's upper respiratory tract is the predominant. Upper respiratory tract, without it, lower respiratory tract automatically will come there. That's what united airway disease, upper airway disease, and contributing to lower airway disease. And medium solubility water, ozone is the one produces tracheitis, bronchitis, bronchiolitis, and whole lot asthma. And low in nitrogen, well, predominantly bronchioles and alveoli, and phosphine is another gas, deadly gas. Now, various components, let's look into these aspects of the various components of the pollutants. So we have gaseous pollutants and the particulate matter on the other side. Among the gas, carbon monoxide, as we mentioned earlier, it doesn't have any effect on the pulmonary function because it doesn't involve the airways, doesn't pulmonary function. 50% of all the air polluted is carbon monoxide from the vehicles emissions. And it does produce an ill effect for combining the hemoglobin, carboxyhemoglobin produces as a matter. Sulfur dioxide is mostly soluble. It produces airway inflammation, increases the airway resistance, decreases ciliary activity. Ciliary activity is the most important because mucus is not clearing up as a matter of fact. There is 10-fold increase in asthma sensitivity. And if you increase the 50 microgram per meter, there is 3-fold rise in the mortality. Oxide of nitrogen, it produces airway inflammation, sensitivity, and increases sensitivity to dust mites. And also, if you level increase by 50 microgram, there is increase of asthma by 2.8%. Ozone is the extremely irritant of the respiratory tract. And it has got a cumulative effect, as a matter of fact. It increases the asthma by 40%. And there is 3-4-fold increase in the admission if the level increased by 50 microgram per cubic feet in the 8-hour period. Worst variety, as a matter of fact. And suspended, coming to suspended particulate 10 micron, 2.5 to 1 micron, they have been shown the major culprits. The source is the black carbon. Black carbon and the polyaromatic hydrocarbon, volatile organic compound, metals, nickels, and magnesium, and manganese, etc. have a direct effect or reflex airway spasm. They potentiate other pollutants. They also enhance the production of IgE. It can become atopic here. Because our study shows for all non-topical IgE is normal. After 5-10 years, they develop IgE level very high. That is air pollution, suspended particulate produces all. As I mentioned earlier, 2.5 micron blood-brain barrier, and it has got non-pulmonary effect like infantile syndrome, coagulopathy, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer. All these things come from the air pollution itself, apart from the allergic disease, as a matter of fact. Black carbon has been studied very well. The healthy people, if you may induce the cough from them, take the phlegm, look at in the macrophages how many dark particles are there, the carbon. Depending on the number, the lung capacity decreases. It is a silent zone, the small airway, silent, where it affects double the amount of the airway affect there. That is what we are, the study has come there. Nowadays, I think recently, 2 days ago, we had a meeting at air pollution. A study has come there for research purposes for me to clear that. Now from here, Himalayan Gangetic Delta belt, the brown carbon is there. We don't know what the brown carbon is all about. What we understand, it is a soot from burning. So as a chemical combination has produced brown carbon, and no study has been done so far. Maybe you have to think of the future. That is becoming more and more, respiratory problem go to more and more. They have to identify what is the percentage, what effect it has, and we doctors have to do some research. How does it affect and all things by doing that? I think black carbon, we have enough studies in India also. Dr. Kalapana down is my student. Now, traffic-derived air pollution, as I said, from the increased coagulopathy, the clots, what is formed, it goes to the placenta and deposits on them, decreases the nutritional value to the baby in the mother's fetus. Depending on the severity of the clots formed in the placenta, stillbirth will happen. If there is less variety, prematurity will happen. 30% of the premature birth are air pollution. And also, if it is little less, small for date habits. And these are all these children born with small airways. It affects the antenatal exposure synergies with postnatal exposure with susceptibility to the asthma, bronchiolitis, and wheeze, as a matter of fact. Wheeze all over the world has increased. And 2017, Lancet requested 8 global opinion leaders. What is your why it is increased and like during that time? I'm one of the representing Indian subcontinent among the 8 people. We are yes, nearly 75% of the wheezing comes under 5 years, and in them 25% come from less than 1 year. We highlighted whatever the wheeze, use the bronchodilator until we find out the cause. This was the general opinion of the global expert. It's published in the having that, and also if the suspended matter from 35 becomes from 34 to 43, there is 4-fold increase in the wheezing in this small. And as I said, these are all children born with a fixed airway obstruction. No matter what it is, they continues to wheeze, and they are the one continues to have constant medication. And they're going to die in the future airway. Having learned that indoor air pollution, outdoor air pollution, sometimes it's difficult to separate, as a matter of fact. Various chemicals are coming from are there indoor air pollutants, microbes, fungi, endotoxins, and allergens, virulent, name it, various chemicals. And also all this is from the exposure, depending on which field, even the fetus also getting affected, it affects the various organs and produce various allergic diseases. As a matter, recent research from ICMR that indoor air pollution, mortality from indoor air pollution has decreased in India. The past from 2019 from 62%. Outdoor air pollution mortality increased from 115%. We have to focus on it. These are all the recent data published in Lancet December from the ICMR. And we have enough substantiating data, outdoor air pollution, epidemiological. We have children in the people suffer more than the rural. Second thing is traffic area, they suffer more than the area, less traffic area. And during Diwali period of time, bursting of firecrackers, sulfur dioxide is very high. During that time, people suffer more from the outdoor air pollution. Traffic police are standing 8 to 10 hours in the traffic, they suffer most. We have seen that as a matter. Further to that, air pollution, ozone is much more, as a matter of fact. In summertime, it used to be in Bangalore 2.8%. It's 28% due to. These are all substantial data. Outdoor air pollution. Indoor air pollution, we have children. Usually, boys suffer more asthma in childhood than the girls until that area. Then is 25 kilometers away from the city of Bangalore, 6 kilometers away from the highway. These are all agriculture farm workers. Boys will go to work in the field with the father. Girls are working with the mother in cooking and all these things. With the thatched hut, using agriculture non-commercial cooking fuel, poorly ventilated, the girls suffer 2 times more than the boys. This is from the indoor air pollution. We have substantiating that as a matter of fact. And also cooking commercial, not using the commercial cooking, they suffer most, the ladies and all. These are all the enough substances we have. Further to that, again substantiating data, these are all the pollutions contribute significantly in a genetically disposed genetic way, changing the protein, cellular damage, tissue damage, organ damage, the symptoms in a person, and various chemicals will be produced, interleukins, various interleukins and all those things. This is for your information in a summary. How does this work? All these chemicals, what they produce, anything like that. They work by way of 2 things. So reactive oxygen species produces oxidative. From the oxidative stress, all this inflammation, this is imbalance between the oxidation and not having oxidative stress. What does the oxidative stress produce from the various chemicals? That they produce muscle contraction, increased permeability, impairment of the beta-analgesic receptors, excessive mucus production. We produce 1 liter of mucus in the respiratory tract, 600 to 700 in the nose and sinuses, 250 to 300 comes from the lungs. Mucus from the lungs should come up, Because from the nose to go backwards, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes from nose blanket to reach the throat, as a matter of fact. And alter release of the inflammatory mediators, air responsiveness, and epithelial damage, ciliary movement with it. So stagnation mucus happens, more thickening, more narrowing of the air, secondary infection will come there, as a matter of fact. How does the nature is tackling all these things? Nature has got a best to help us out. This is called third eye. That is called pineal gland situate between the hemisphere, where the third eye is exactly in that position in the back of the head. That produces the hormone called melatonin, which regulates the sleep and wake hour. Sleep is very important. It protects the body from cell damage, from the free radicals. This is very much needed. Sleep is very good. It regulates the onset of the puberty. What it needs is only good nutrition, traditional food habits, and which has got more antioxidants, fruits, vegetables, that's all it is needed. So we do the good nutritious food is enough, producing good hormone melatonin to help the healing process. Having learned that one, how does the weather changes enhance the allergic disease, implement the allergic disease? The increased temperature in summertime and allergy, the asthma from the ozone secondary ozone formation, from the emission of oxides of nitrogen, volatile organic compound in the presence of the bright sunlight. This is what have been hypothesized and it has been proved, as a matter. This is our paper has produced one of the best 10 papers in the world in 2007, 2008. It was published in Austria. Global warming allergy. There is what happens to the global warming. It is mainly from the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, what we breathe is only 0%. But the carbon dioxide, what we produce, unbelievable. We produce nearly 4 tons of carbon dioxide, each one of us. 4 tons of carbon dioxide. And greenhouse gases is coming from the carbon dioxide. Nearly 84% of the greenhouse gases is carbon dioxide. 9% come from the methane gas. And other one, oxides of nitrogen, comes for 4%. Other chlorinated thing will come there. Ozone and all, not that. These are all the one contributing. When the carbon is global warming happens, climate change happens. When the climate change happens, naturally, even Scandinavian countries, because they grow few ambrosia weeds are growing. Naturally, the trees are, because global warming, trees are producing longer period of the pollens. And also that is causing more symptoms for longer period of time, the matter. And also the trees get less in the they are also stressed. When they're stressed, they produce a hormone propylene. That enhances the protein content of the pollens. And if those pollens deposit the diesel particles, small particles, they'll 50 times more allergic. That's why the urban people suffer more, even though trees are less. Pollen number is less, they are more potent. How does change in the humidity? In water, dust might be only 3 months. And water only from the atmosphere. And during those 300 times their body weight, their pellet, tool pellet, aerodynamism and allergy. Dust mites is producing more than where there is increased humidity, increased temperature is there, dust mite allergy will be most. When the decreased humidity, increased temperature, then increase the pollen. Also, if the wind speed is only 1 kilometer, there are more spread of the pollens, as a matter of fact. And whenever there is a decreased humidity and decreased temperature, increased fungal allergy, as a matter of fact. Now, what you have to do in your house, best if you are air conditioned, anything like that, keep the humidity at 45. Below 40, it produces more of a fungal thing. Above 50, dust mites will come in there. So 45 is the best relative humidity. So under conditions, during the thunderstorm, pollen made by the osmotic shock, and those plasmid will release small particle deposit, carry them, and we produce more wheezing. Thunderstorm, we can see a lot of emergency wheezing from asthma. In addition, there's some fungus is their fungal spores during thunderstorms. This is how the thunderstorm allergy becomes more and more. During the drought and triggers asthma allergy, why more dust, more particulate in the morning, more smoke from the wildfires that happen more often in the drought area. So those smoke and sandstorm and thing that produces asthma. So diesel exhaust is the worst variety. It also, as I said, it stimulates the IgG after binding to allergens, causes a neosensitization, it becomes atopic. Induces the production of various cytokines by Th2 cell response. And you heard about all these things. Envoy tobacco smoke is also worst variety. It's an adjunctive for Ig induction. And in circulating eosinophils for interleukin-4 by interleukin, it upregulates Ig-mediated reaction in inhaled allergens. Having learned these pollutants, how they work, and as we all heard, diesel particles are the worst variety. These are all the things it produces, whatever it is. I think we learned about it. Who are all the vulnerable people for the air pollution? It is the children. Because they got immune and antioxidant defense in the developing phase. They breathe more air as a matter of fact. They spend more time outside the play. During the play, as a right, they inhale, they breathe, they have to breathe 4 times more air than anything else. Small airways, they will get deposit on all the allergy will be much more in them. And the elderly people, they have high prevalence of chronic cough, they're going to suffer most. And urban population suffer most. People who are living in the penthouse and things like that, all the small air will go up the small particle much more in the higher particle, as a matter of fact. Now, the thing has been observed. So gut bacteria is very well essential. Some of the gut bacteria is beneficial. They are all the lactobacillus from the curds and buttermilk, what we've been using by bacteria. And these are all the system. Any germs, they're very protected. Traditional food what have been, please continue. We got more germs and germs in the gut. Gut axis is very important. Where the skin and lung axis equally, they definitely help in decreasing the allergy and all those things. On the contrary, respiratory bacteria is there. They enhance the allergic airway diseases. And if the mucus congestion happens, if the secondary bacterial infection in certain area, these Haemophilus influenza in children less than 5 years, so to think about it, vaccine is there, is good enough. And pneumococcal coming after 5 years. And you have Neisseria, Moraxella from sinus problem, Streptococcus, respiratory infection. These are all these germs we have to keep it in mind as a secondary. Having learned that, let's move further. And when it comes to not responding with the regular medication, as we discussed already, whenever the flare-up comes, which is poorly controlled, all the asthmatic children living in the urban area, you have to take the history, environment history strongly. So that's what we highlighted already. If allergic rhinitis is not under control, routine medication consider air quality to a significant contributing factor. We learned all along, as a matter of fact. Management may step up there. That's what we have always doing. Use of antivenom shows good response to the presence of air pollution. Allergic rhinitis, yes, it helps. Use of intranasal corticosteroid, good response to the presence of air pollution. Yes, for the air pollution, definitely it helps. And we have to measure the inflammation fraction excretion of the nitric oxide, fraction exhalation of the nitric oxide. I think 2012, ICA study, I'm one of the 6 global experts. We recommended, I think one of the biomarkers, the best way to producing atopic control or not. It is eosinophilic related, this one. However, GINA guideline recommended FeNO in certain situations. Assessment of spirometry in small children is difficult. Simple pimples also, even small children also you can. It's only in the laboratory base, the laboratory, not in. So AFE level is a surrogate marker of the eosinophilic inflammation and whether the corticosteroid works are very in this situation for bronchial asthma. So it has been observed FeNO will be very high whenever the air pollution, annual increase of pollution from 2.5, that level also goes very high. That means inflammation continues to help. Counseling these patients, all the patients with allergies and chronic cough and other chronic lung disease. Counsel and preventive effect, re-evaluate is based on the air quality. So we individually have to do to how to mitigate the air pollution. There are three ways. Reduce the pollution at source. I think so that we don't produce anymore. What to say? We are producing in general all over the world. We are producing about 4 tons of carbon dioxide per year, mainly from the various sources. And we had to reduce the global warming climate change. And what government WHO says, United States produces nearly per person. So how can we reduce the pollutants? By setting up the guidelines ourselves, regulating automobiles, new energy sources, reduce the sources. I feel very happy. Yesterday we had a discussion in the science climate that there's a climate change. I think devices and climate change has been adjourned as one of the 11 best institutes in the world where they are working significantly reduce the energy from the fossil fuel. We have already announced about nearly 30-40% we have reduced the from the fossil fuel, and we are going to reduce in the future as a matter of. Also, eliminate the existing the pollutants. You know, from the mid-18, we have the stock of the carbon dioxide. How much carbon dioxide we have? Nearly 2,400 tons carbon dioxide we have. That we have to reduce because we have to reduce the carbon dioxide 250 part per million. That we have to reduce. That when it takes hell of a lot of money and all these things. But we have various ways, measures are there, scientific measures. We have to work together for the what is with significantly. Earlier, what had happened is all this pollutant come from the developed countries, European countries, American countries. They have contributed. They have grown up technically. Their technology, industry increase, economy increase. They contribute significantly. Our India was the lowest. Now we start. So China is produces nearly ton dioxide, and the million. United States produces India produces 6. So we are the industry becoming, we are producing more. At the same time, we want to safeguard ourselves, reduce it technically. But in addition to that, protect the people who are affected. So traditional food have antioxidant provided, good ventilated house we have to construct, safety control medicine, research to our needs. All right, this is what international doing that one, nationally what we have been doing that one. And government of India said by 2030, produce nearly 50% of the greenhouse gases, and also effect we have been doing it. Also degraded, we definitely 2030 remove all the degraded land. This is what our Prime Minister has promised, and is also attending of the global situation in the UK, and it was in the November. I'm very happy and proud. We are taking a significant and also helping the other countries keep their word, promise. Because if you don't keep their word, there's nothing there. Promise is a must. The tongue is important. Each country keep the tongue. What we can do, all right? As I said, total greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide, dioxide, what happens? What we produce carbon dioxide to dissolve in the ocean, it takes 20 to 100 years, 80% of that. 20% take 1,000 years. Methane gas, about 12 years, 12 to 14 years. And other oxides of nitrogen takes about 114 years to degrade. So global average, what we produce, the greenhouse gases, 4 tons per person average now. And the United States producing about 16 tons per person. And to keep, so the recommendation all over the world is to keep the temperature less than, and also keep the carbon dioxide 2 tons per person. How do you do that? There are 10 methods. If you don't have any car, 2.0 tons you can save per year. And if you have a battery operated car, nearly 2 tons you can save per year. If you stop one long haul from Bangalore to London, you can save 1 ton carbon dioxide. And renewable energy, you guys the wind and the and solar and wind are the cheapest energy. We have been working on that one in devices and climate change. So if you use that, if you are going that one, we can say 1.6 tons. Public transport, if you use it, if you are going nearby area, walk yourself or using bicycle, so avoid unnecessary travel, anything in the bus and car, you can save nearly about 0.98 tons. When you're building a house, good cross ventilation, good window, all these things, if you have it, you can save nearly 0.89 tons. And vegan diet, if you have vegetarian, you can save 0.8 ton carbon footprint. So what happens, 1 kg of the vegetables produces about 1 kg of carbon dioxide footprint. Non-vegetarian food produces 5 tons for 1 kg, 5 kg to 35 kg. It is red meat contributes significantly at that one. I think we are not against anybody's food habits, but encourage vegetarian diet in between, as a matter of fact. And improving the heat pumps from solar heating and all this thing, and using the LED bulbs, you can save about 0.79% yourself. Improve the cooking equipment. So you are using a small dosa, you get a big vessel, you are wasting more energy. Don't do this. And when your fire is coming there, you should come with the blue light. When the blue flame comes, energy better utilized. Yellow flame comes, energy for producing a lot of time. That comes from not able to your heating system. And you can save about 0.65%. Renewable based heating. I think if you use in village a lot of cow, and also we can produce by that one the gobar gas that gives the methane for cooking, clean gas for cooking and all these things. Avoid all these things. That's a great deal, 0.64%. That's what, even the same thing what the cow, when you're not giving milk, is beneficial. Even without that, that cow dung can be beneficial, this one for energy. And also what is left behind, they can use as a manure for growing the organic food and all that. Also after his death, skin can be used, foot soles and all this. Having learned this one, as a matter of, ladies and gentlemen, my special thanks, son of me, I think we have to progress there between the practitioners, academicians, researchers, pharmaceutical company. In that context, Sanofi can be proud, as a matter of fact, and also I work in central office for making this module, propagating the information for all we can do. For, as a matter of fact, IAP, the first professional body, we have to educate nearly 8 sectors. It is health sector, IAP, the first body ever signed the the signatories. Our statement has been published as a matter of, and in Lancet has been published as a matter of fact, IAP. And we are thankful our Environmental Chapter, IAP chapter, Allergy chapter, and total IAP. Our name is recorded in the WHO toolkit, and our statement is published. As a matter, I'm thankful for this. Our organization, brothers and sisters of our organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Parmesh, sir, for your blessings. And every time you provide some new knowledge, every time we are listening, and you are enriching each one of us. You explained very well the role of the automobiles in causing the air pollution. And you very well said that the dust mite and the cooking fuels are one of the important indoor air pollutions causing. Then the air quality index is a very good indicator of the air pollution in any city, and air pollution has impact from womb to tomb. Very well said, sir. And it is causing the prenatal epigenetic changes. This is one of the recent concept. Then the air pollution is affecting the various genes also, and it is causing the affecting the immune response of the body. You very well explained how inflammation is caused by virtue of the T and B cells, and you very well explained what are the early phase and late phase manifestations of inflammation, and very well said about the balance of the protective and non-protective cytokines in causing the allergic diseases. And you very well explained how the particulate matter, every time we are talking, how they are affecting the airways, and the gases which are affecting the body depends on their solubility, and the particulate matter depending on their size. Now, very important, you highlighted the traffic derived air pollution, very important in causing the affecting the fetus and causing various malformations in the fetus and epigenetic changes. Then you very well enriched we all that the outdoor air pollution is increasing day by day up to the extent of 115%. On the other hand, with the we can say that with the acknowledgement and then with the learning, the indoor air pollution we have been able to decrease up to 65%, and very well explained the role of the melatonin also in decreasing the oxidative stress and the effect of the global warming and the seasons and the humidity in causing the various allergies. You very well enlightened us the mechanism how the diesel exhaust particles and volatile organic compounds are affecting the immunity and causing the various allergic manifestations. Sir, you very well said role of the gut microbiota is coming up nowadays in decreasing the allergy, and you very well said that the counseling, proper counseling is the backbone of our treatment, and the trees are our friends. Always you say us, and then you highlighted this point also today also. And the important aspect, very important aspect, is the quality education of the all the stakeholders. And sir, I want to congratulate you that you are taking the lead of and making the awareness, increasing the awareness of the quality education of the all the stakeholders very well. And the one thing very important practical aspect which each and every one of us can do is the carbon footprint you provided day to day, how we can help individually to decrease the air pollution. Very well enlightened, sir. And then we are very grateful you spared your valuable time even on Sunday, and we feel highly obliged, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Devendra sir, I think
Yes, sir.
on behalf of after this presentation, we can only say that there should be a strong statement for electric vehicles.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I think two-wheelers is increasing in India. Yesterday only we discussed about it in the Institute of Science. I think it's increasing, sir. Number is increasing. We are way ahead, sir. Countries. Yeah, we are way ahead in this context.
Whatever we describe, sir, it is falling short of what Dr. Parmesh sir says in each lecture. Every time he enriches us with something new. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Any queries, sir? Atanu Patna, sir? Sir, thank you so much.
I think the presentation is very lucid. No questions can be raised.
No question. No, we can just follow them. We can just follow these guidelines.
Thank you.
That is the way. I feel proud to be an expert in the expert of experts, Dr. Parmesh sir. He is the father of allergy and immunology. Thank you very much, sir, giving me a chance to act as an expert for your lecture. Thank you so much.
I am honored.
We are, in fact, sir, we are
both
blessed.
of you are taking very well. Thank you very much. Yeah. Anthony Badras, thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity to exchange our views. Thank you. Sorry, I had to leave some other meeting with your permission. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, can we move for the other lectures, sir? Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Much, yeah.
With your permission,
I have to leave. With your permission, I leave you.
No, sir.
You go another meeting.
You blessed us, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for sparing your time.
Thank you.
Thank you once again from Kolkata. Thank you, sir. And now we'll be starting with the recorded voice of Dr. Nagaraju, sir, for the allergic skin testing. Khushi? Khushi, can we start from the first slide?
I am Dr. Major K. Nagaraju. I am the professor head of the Department of Allergy and Clinical Immunology and also Director of Fellowship Program in Allergy and Clinical Immunology, Savita University. I am also visiting pediatric allergist Apollo Hospital, Chennai, and also the Vice President of the Indian Academy of Pediatrics, South Zone. I am going to talk on today allergy testing, especially skin testing. I am going to talk. Before that, going to the topic, I want to talk about what is allergy. A lot of people ask. Any foreign substance enters into the body, that is an antigen, what we call it as. In Greek, we call it as allos, means altered. Ergos means response. You will get 3 responses. There is no response at all for any body enters, so that body is not reacting. And body react to that and you will get immunity, you will get immunological response. Whereas other thing is that excessive immunological response you will get, that is called hypersensitivity, that is the allergy one. What is the real meaning of allergy is the aberrant or excessive immune response generated against the foreign antigens. This is the one thing. Allergen means it has to be a protein. It has to 5 to 180 kilodaltons has to be there to raise the antibodies against that. What are the allergens? These are the allergens, mainly 5 allergens. That is, dust mite is very common all over the world. And in India, it is about 70 to 80%. Coastal district is about 80 to 90%, whereas other places 60 to 70%. Second one is cockroach. And third one is fungus. And pollens are very common in different places. Pets, depending in India, it is not much common. Now we are seeing more and more cases of pets also. Food and drugs and venom is another things. The family history of allergy will be there. Father, mother, whoever may be suffering, or a child has got atopic dermatitis or allergic rhinitis, in which child you can suspect allergy. When a patient with allergic rhinitis, most of the people won't come with saying that I am suffering from allergic rhinitis. Most of them come with permanent cold or recurrent cold or cough, throat pain, sneezing or rhinorrhea. This is the main thing a lot of people will come. With that, we have to think about when there is a throat pain is there, you have to look for ear pain is there, ear also involvement is there, sinus involvement are there. All the things together, you can suspect the allergic rhinitis. When to suspect allergy? Any patient with wheezing, there is a Articurial with or without angioedema suspecting allergy, and dry skin, atopic dermatitis, and allergic conjunctivitis. Any rashes or articurial rashes or angioedema, or you develop anaphylaxis within 2 hours after taking food or drug, can able to think about allergy. And there may be some people complaining of ear itching, throat pop, ear popping, and fullness, and all these things. That is otitis media effusion will be there. And repetitive sneezing, allergic rhinitis, rhinorrhea, nasal block will be there. Anaphylaxis, one thing, and diarrhea, vomiting with abdominal cramping after taking a suspected food. These are the things. Some of the things, all may not be. We cannot write all the things at a time. Some definitely we focus here. Diagnosis of allergy. You have to have a good history has to be there. Good history supported by physical examination is the cornerstone of the diagnosis of allergic diseases. You have a suspicion unless your brain has got knowledge, then only your eyes can see. You have a focused allergy questionnaire to given to the patient. Patient always go through that thing and correct it so that we can able to go through that questions and we can suspect it. Test will not only give you supportive diagnosis only, but also is a confirmative so that you can able to allergen avoidance or immunotherapy can may be helpful. So the combination of typical history, compatible physical findings, and positive tests only gives you the probable diagnosis. So what are the diagnostics? That's the only we call it as a diagnostic pyramid. Medical history and physical examination is the cornerstone, I already told you. Then with the history and all proper tests, you have to go for in vitro testing, that is in skin prick testing or intradermal testing, which I am going to talk to you later. Almost intradermal testing is now outdated. Only certain places like drug allergies or venom allergies only we are using. In vitro testing, it has become very popular nowadays. All over the world they are using. Those people not accustomed to skin prick testing, though it is less sensitive than skin prick testing, that is specific IgE testing. Nowadays, most of them are immunocap, a lot of people are, this technique a lot of people are using. And most of the people not doing the allergen challenge test except nasal challenge and bronchial challenge, conjunctival challenge, rare cases they are doing. So prick test is a very, very preferred technique for diagnosing IgE-mediated diseases. History is very, very important. And you have to know about the history in the skin test before it. Specific clinical history of the patient to have a good interview with the patient. What type of the disease, and duration of the disease, severity of the symptoms, and what are the affected organs you have to take about in the history. Current history, past history, medical, what medicines taken, family history, environment, all will help you to pick up what type of tests you are going to do it, allergens you are going to do it. And known or suspected local or regional indoor allergens, outdoor allergens. So indoor allergens means dust mite, cockroach, and all outdoor allergens, pollens. By history, you can able to know it. I will give you one example. A child, a 5-year-old child, there is no point of doing outdoor allergen. Child cannot go out to do the pollens at all. So he is the indoor. A mother, what is that? Occupational history also very important. Mother who is working lady who is working in the kitchen and looking after inside the house only, most of them are indoor allergens we have to look for, especially cockroach allergies. You have to think about this. Knowledge of foods. What foods they are eating, food allergens, food chemistry, you have to know about that. And knowledge of cross-reactivity and local area, what are the pollens available in that area, you have to know about. Natural history of the disease process also, you have to know about that thing. Different tests, which one to choose? A lot of tests are there, skin prick test, intradermal test, epicutaneous patch test, you can call it. Atopic patch test, which one to take? In and allergies, prefer only skin prick test. And food allergies also skin prick test is preferred. Whereas venom allergies and drug allergies, intradermal tests are preferred. And the contact allergies, that is contact dermatitis, where you can do patch tests. So these are the tests, whatever I told you already. And vitro, these are the total IgE levels also nowadays is lower diagnostic value and clinical value. And component resolved diagnosis. Now only it has come to India. Only we are the only center we are doing. No other center is doing. That's why I told currently not available in India. I meant all over the India only. We are the only people in our center only we are doing it. Which test to be select for IgE-mediated allergy? I already told you there are two types of in vivo test and vivo test. Out of this, which one to select? There are definitely, you know that thing, skin prick test, intradermal test, patch test, and challenge tests are in vivo tests, and in vitro tests are total IgE and specific IgE, serum specific component resolved diagnosis. Component resolved, though it is not available India all over, but we got with us. Which one to choose is very important, because intradermal causes anaphylaxis and specificity is very low, and patch test only for contact dermatitis. Specialized centers only they are doing challenge tests. So which test to be choose is very important. Now you see that all the other tests, only skin prick test and blood test serum specific IgE is the only thing to be taken, because that is the only thing out of these two. Skin prick test is gold standard. So for detecting a specific IgE, there are two tests I told you already: in vivo test and in vitro test. In vivo test is skin prick test. It demonstrates the antibodies fixed to the mast cells. Specific IgE antibody fixed to the mast cell underneath the skin, we can able to demonstrate. It can be present as a wheel. You can able to see it here. And it is a gold standard. It can be performed by small children also, mainly because it is very highly sensitive. Whereas in vitro test, that is the mainly thing, immunocap, most of the people will use it nowadays. Previously it's called as RASH. It's only, it demonstrates the circulating specific antibodies in the serum only. That's why skin prick test is a gold standard. Coming to the same thing here, you see that it is fixed to the mast cells here. It is freely circulating here. We are measuring it. This child, Shaktipriya, 14-year-old, has come with a recurrent anaphylaxis with articurial angioedema whenever there is there. She was admitted several times in the hospital, medical college, where she was all the time is received with, revived with adrenaline. When they came to us, we have waited for 14 days because anaphylaxis, most of the cells will be gone. That's why we have to wait for 14 days, histamine and other things. And we found that skin prick test is so big. That is the one thing what is important, gluten. So we diagnose a food-dependent exercise-induced anaphylaxis in these patients. So skin tests are also very useful. Why you have to do only SPT? Why not other things in the allergic testing? Because most of the allergic diseases are progressive. What is the meaning of progressive? It starts with mild and then to moderate and then to severe after a long time. And also requirement of drugs will also go up and severity also increases. It is also useful to find out the cause. So once you know the cause, you can possible for avoidance. If not avoidance, you can plan for immunotherapy. If everything is negative, immunotherapy, if any SPT is negative, then you can plan for pharmacotherapy, either by montelukast or anything in case of asthma. If it is positive in asthma, definitely it may be due to eosinophilic type, may inhale corticosteroid. It guides the pharmacotherapy also, these results. What are the indications for that? Several indications are there, mainly rhinosinusitis, conjunctivitis, allergic asthma, suspected food allergy. Patient will come, I got this so many foods like that, they'll say, but perceived food allergies are very common in children. Acute, intermittent, and recurrent urticarias, oral allergy syndromes, food allergies, latex allergies, venom allergies, and also in atopic dermatitis. As far as the allergy, respiratory allergy is concerned, allergy tests are useful in allergic rhinitis, all types of intermittent or persistent, mild or severe type you have to do. Whereas in asthma, uncontrolled asthma is a contraindication for allergy test. But one control means certain times you cannot do the skin prick test. That is chronic urticaria without allergy history. Some people will do for food tolerance, that's not supposed to be done at all. Non-specific skin rashes, migraine headaches, and a lot of behavioral problems like autism, ADHD, chronic fatigue. People will do normally, not supposed to be. Screening for a lot of patients will come. Let me know what are the allergies for me. That you are not supposed to do at all. And irritants, a lot of people will come with perfume, mosquito repellent, agarbatti. These are all the irritants only. It's not allergen, so you cannot able to do it. Some people will do for the allergen-specific immunotherapy effectiveness, but not to be done at all. It's not going to give you anything at all. Testing for food allergies, coloring agents not to be done, and non-hygienic food allergies and drug allergies, no, not at all indicated. What are the contraindications? Severe dermographism, you can see the dermographism is here. and severe dermatological conditions like atopic dermatitis, that type of things, and burns, whatever may be in the skin, that area you are not able to do. Whenever you inject the negative control, that is saline, you develop a wheel that indicates the patient has got thermographism, you cannot able to do it. Patient unable to seize the antihistaminics or other interfering drugs to the skin, a skin prick test, then it is a contraindication. Immediately after anaphylaxis, I already told you have to wait for 2 weeks to do it. Whenever you do the skin prick test, take the consent from the guardian or a parent if it is patient is less than 18 years of age. That is very, very important. If no parent, mean either father or mother, both are equally, you can take from both of them. You must explain that risks and benefits of the performed skin test to the patient. All the time you have to tell what are the risks, what are the benefits to them, and you have to mention that also you have already explained to the patient. Whenever patient has come for a skin prick test, you are going to take to the patient to the room where you are test. You have to do examination, vitals you have to look for, body temperature, respiratory rate, pulse, BP and all, and pulse oximetry by using oxygen saturation you have to know, and examine the patient for chest, any wheezing is there, and peak expiratory flow also very useful, so that we know that if it is there wheezing, you have to treat the wheezing and then only you have to do that thing. Certain medication to be avoided, I already mentioned. What are the medications? Antihistamines in general 4 to 7 days, and tricyclic antidepressants, special ranitidine, famotidine, and cimetidine for 1 day. And topical steroid, those who are using more than 3 weeks when there is skin test is going on, must be stopped. So that then only you can able to do that thing. There is no need to stop the montelukast or any inhalers or anything. Local allergies for long term cannot be used, but at that time mild means wheel can be will not be affected, but flare can be affected, but you can use it in some patients. What is the principle of skin prick test? Here you see that we are doing in this skin volar aspect of forearm we are doing. We are injecting 0.001 ml, very, very little amount, into the epidermis, which is a non-vascular superficial dermis. When you inject into that, it will interact with the specific IG bone to the mast cell, and reaction will occur. What is the reaction? Wheel and flare reaction due to histamine and other mediators. You can see within 15 minutes. Histamine reaction, that is positive control.
The slides are not moving.
Kushi, the slide is not moving. हेलो आ गया चंद हाँ नहीं देखा नहीं पर इसमें आ गया
Khushi, dear, the slides are not moving and the sound has gone off. Just check whether we have to restart it.
Kushi, the slide is not moving.
is it moving?
It's still not moving.
Okay, okay.
Just forward it a little.
Just make the next slide or move the slides.
Just a second, sir. I'm trying.
minutes. Histamine reaction, that is positive control, we can see in 8 to 10
Is it
minutes.
okay now?
Whereas these allergens can be seen up to 15 to 20.
Voice is coming, but the slides are not moving.
So you have to wait up to.
Sir, it will move in a while once.
Okay. Krishna.
Yeah, yeah.
To the patient for 20 minutes, then you have to see the reaction. Depth to be how much you introduce, the depth is very important. You have to go up to 45 to 60 degrees angle, 0.5 millimeters. Where we can do skin prick test. Most of the times we prefer volar aspect of previous picture we showed you. Forearm, that is the very thing chosen because easy to do and convenient and easy to read the results. And back also some people will do what you've seen in the picture. Lower back is more sensitive, very difficult to do in the lower back. Small children we do, those people not able to cooperate with us. At that time, mother can hold on the lap, on the thing, and then where we can able to do it the patient. Forearm skin less sensitive than back, but still we use forearm only because convenience purpose. How you do? These are the allergens, what you selected, what you want to do it because of by history wise. And the lancet is a very important lancet. This is the allergy lancet. We cannot use the blood lancet where the tip is very, very small. And mark on the skin, the forearm, where you can see the marks. You can see at the distance of 2 centimeters. And place the drop, small drop in the angle you can put it so that you need not to waste the antigen. And then use this lancet, prick it with sideways what I mentioned you. That is a modified prick test, we can call it as. This is the prick test normally. That is a modified with sideways to do, is easy to do and measure it. And once you do it, waste whatever the leftover one you can able to remove by using the either blotting paper or you can able to take individually also by this thing and wait for 15 to 20 minutes until the results will see. Once the results has come, you have to see one is called as for negative control, it has to be less than 3 millimeter, where the positive control more than 3 millimeter. What is positive control histamine? I think we have to do it first. And negative control saline we have to do first because if it is positive means more than 3 millimeter, we cannot proceed. At the same time, positive control is less than 3 millimeter, we cannot proceed for further testing because patient is taking antihistamines. then only you can go. If more than 3 millimeter, you consider as a positive for that antigen. See, this already I told you, this is called as allergy lancet, 1 millimeter tip. This is called as blood lancet, induces the blood only. That's why we cannot able to do this procedure. It is, once blood is there, false positive results will come. How many allergens to be tested? This needs a lot of experience, clinical experience and knowledge is very, very important. For that, you have to take a good history, age of the patient and environment and living conditions. Where I give you an example. A child is less than 5 years, need not to do for the outdoor allergens. More of a is more of a dust mite type of thing. Early morning symptoms and night symptoms when you lie down in the bed, then dust mite, you can select it. Environment where he's staying, where if he is pollens in that environment, you have to know that, because which pollen is not common in South India. That's why you need not to do it. Only Himalayan areas only positive. So you have to know about aerobiological data of your area. You have to know routine large number of tests we don't allow. We don't want to justify it by doing it. Simply they don't do. I just tell you a person is a vegetarian. Why you want to do a non-vegetarian diet testing? It's not good at all. And history is going to guide you. Patient say that I take this food is developing symptoms, then only you can do. Otherwise, all food are not right. Definitely not good. You have to think about what is allergenicity. Allergenicity of pollens. Some pollens are mild pollens, some people are moderate allergenicity, some as severe allergy. According to that, you can able to select in that area. Cross reactivity, you know, some pollens are cross reacts with food cross reacts with the pollens, and dust mite cross reacts among yourselves, and also to the prawns and crustaceans, other crustaceans, and also to the cockroach also. So we have to know about the cross reactivity when you are doing testing, and you have to know about whatever I told you, aerobiological data. Infants, preschool children, and school children. That way you can think over infants, what you have to do, you can think about with that history. Preschool children, what you have to take it. And school-going children, in the school environment also you have to find out how you are spending and all, what is the school environment, how much time you are spending, where symptoms exaggerate with school going. That you have to find. In adolescents also you have to find. For that, we need good knowledge. Clinical acumen is necessary, and clinical experience also very, very vital. How do you interpret? We did already 3 millimeter wheel is the positive. Yes, you see that millimeter is positive. This is the projections is called as pseudopodia. Once pseudopodia we see, that means it is a very severe allergy. That you have to understand. Here also pseudopodia is there. See, yeah, that is one thing. Positive indicates sensitization, not necessarily a disease. So please understand, anybody who is positive means don't jump into conclusion that you have got allergy. Don't tell that. You have to correlate with the clinical history. Then only you can get. So once you do the skin prick test and revisit the history, that word you can call it. Take the history first and do the skin prick test and revisit the history. That is the one thing you can do. When you ask patient to that, this is the thing, dust mites is the thing. You can ask him when your symptoms more common. In the early morning symptoms, when you lie down in the bed, the night is more common. Early morning when you will get sneezing and nasal block will be there. Then it is more of a dust mite. That you can also ask, always interpret with the evidence of the history only. Without history, you cannot. Like somebody who have got apple positive, and patient says, I take apple. That means it is not necessary. It may be a cross.
Hospital में admit है ना क्या बात नहीं कर पाएगा. Hospital में admit है ना, hospital में outdoor में है.
Say that this is very big size is there, so it is severe allergy. It's not going to be to do that all. We are doing a wonderful study. I think we are going to come out with a big size of the wheel and the severity of the disease.
Okay.
Negative test, maybe sometimes we found everything is negative, but still patient has symptoms are there, maybe due to non-inclusion of the protein, or maybe patients, whatever may be, expired allergens, we used it, or patient allergens not stored properly. All these things will be, think about that. When you say that, some people will get less reactogenic. Why some people are less reactogenic? That means wheel size. Damaged skin due to skin exposure. Your skin is exposed to that damage. Skin cancer people. and chronic renal failure, any of the chronic diseases, immunosuppressed patients, aged above 65. Of course, this is a pediatric, but anyhow, we are doing 65 years above. There's infants, very small infants, small wheel will be there. And also after immunotherapy, there will be wheel size will be decreased. That's why we have to know all these things before going for a skin prick test. A lot of people have got a lot of apprehension about the skin prick test. Anaphylaxis will occur, death can occur, that's the only thing. We are doing so many tests, so many lakhs of tests we did, and we didn't find anything very abnormal. But what happens? It is some syncopal attacks can occur, vasovagal attacks can occur. Vasovagal attacks means you do the just prick it immediately, child may feel excessive sweating and fall down. That is the only thing. I'm going to tell you how to differentiate between vasovagal and anaphylaxis. It is a highly safe procedure, extremely safe procedure. And sometimes patients come back with that, saying that after 30 minutes waited and gone back and say that, sir, after 1 hour, he said that I am highly painful and tender. These reactions are very high. It is non-significant, nothing to worry at all. And some people will say that late reactions. Now you did that time, it is not increasing. Now it is increasing. That is not going to significant at all. Systemic reactions are very, very, very rare. Please understand. When occurs, if you're doing for fresh fruits, and also for the atopic dermatitis in patients and latex allergies, unstable asthma patients, and those infants less than 6 months, there is a chances of there is reactions can occur. But we are not seeing much of these cases. If you go on select properly patients, you won't develop it. Whenever there are these type of patients, observe another 20 minutes extra. That already you are observing 30 minutes and then 20 minutes extra, you have to observe it. And sometimes theoretical possibility of infection may be there, headache will be there. These are all very minor, need not to worry at all. How do you differentiate between? I told you already, this is very important. When you prick itself, patients will fall. Most of the time, mainly because of sitting position, standing position will do, lying position may not come up. This type of vasovagal. How do you differentiate? Pulse is more of anaphylaxis, tachycardia, whereas vasovagal attack it is most of a bradycardia. Blood pressure may or may not be normal. Also, vasovagal may be anaphylaxis, hypotension will be present. Cough, wheezing usually absent. Anaphylaxis usually present. Pale, extremely pale vasovagal attack. We see extreme sweating and fell down patient from there. In normal and only late stages only cyanosis occurs in anaphylaxis. Articurial angioedema normally absent. No involvement of skin involvement. Whereas anaphylaxis, most of the time, skin involvement will be there. This happens as you prick itself, it will happen vasovagal attack. Immediately, seconds it will happen. Whereas it takes minutes to hours for anaphylaxis to develop. Patient will tell after waiting, after you did everything over, then only most of the people tell, or in between that thing, they may be said. Whereas vasovagal first prick itself, they were able to tell. And vasovagal, there will be nausea, vomiting. You can ask the patient. When what I do in my practice, I hold the hand of the patient. When I am doing with right hand, left hand, I hold the patient's hand. See that patient extreme sweating is there. Then I'll ask, are you feeling giddy? Then he says, by that time, immediately she fell down, vomiting, this thing will come. That is indicative vasovagal response. You ask them to lie down, very good response will develop. Extremely good response. Whereas anaphylaxis, no change at all. Most of the people complain of abdominal cramps and vomiting. But here, there is no cramps in vasovagal attacks. Do not do the test in standing position, or even some patients, even sitting position also can cause. But inquire about allergies to that, what you are doing, allergen is important for anaphylaxis. How do you store antigens? Very important. Stability is of the antigen and potency is more dependent on how do you store it. Very important. Allergen extract potency deteriorates over the time. And higher temperatures, we expose more and more higher temperatures. You have to store at 2 to 4 degrees centigrade in the refrigerator, and extract usually preserved with 50% glycerin because stability will be maintained. So you don't use whatever expired extracts. What are the common errors you do? That mistakes normally people you do less than 2 centimeters, because what happened here, the distance they cover it, so they want to use for so many antigens they want to test, and then 2 centimeters below. that thing they can able to do it. So that overlap reactions occur that you cannot able to see whether reaction due to that previous one and this one we don't able to understand. Induction of bleeding. If you bleeding leads to false positive reaction, and when allergen enter into systemic circulation can cause systemic reactions also. Please understand that. Insufficient penetration. Some of the people what they do is that they think that they are penetrating, they are gone, but they never able to puncture it at all. You ask the patient, can you feel it? Patients, most of the children, they say that no pain at all, because most of the parents will say that pain will be there. That when they feel that that afraidness, when you prick it, such a less pain, no pain. People may feel that mosquito bite lesser than mosquito bite. That's the only thing. Those who won't prick it at all, they say that not happened at all. They'll say that, then false negative results. A lot of ambitious practitioners, especially initial time, they never prick at all. That's the only reason why these most commonly occur with plastic devices, where we cannot able to know that pricking sensation we are not able to find out. Spreading allergy solutions. You know that atopic dermatitis patients, once you put that thing, automatically spreads. No, immediately won't be there. And if you put big drop, it spreads to other places. 2 centimeters cross that and go to that thing, and wrong results will get. That's the only thing, not to do this type of things. What are the pitfalls normally we do? A lot of people think it's easy to do skin prick. What is there, we will do it. But you need training, expertise, and skill to get a good, accurate picture. And whenever you do the inexperienced personnel, a lot of changes. That's why we do normally ask them to do histamine proficiency test. We ask the patient to do, or who are going to training, going to undergo training in how to do the skin prick testing. Ask them to do the histamine. For 10 places we will put histamine, ask them to prick it. All the wheels must be equal, or less than 20% difference has to be. Then we will allow him to do the test. That is only we practice. I think we have to practice like that before going for the thing. Failure to store the extract properly. A lot of people, they carry the things to some other hospitals. They carry that, may lose the potency. And non-relevant allergen, not required at all. That allergens we are unnecessary doing. That causes a lot of negative reaction. Clinical situation is not doing it. So I already told you, don't do the tests we are doing unnecessarily. That will be causing a lot of apprehension to the patients at all. And fail to test up clinical relevance of positive or negative tests. That's a very important. Patient is full of allergy. You can see that thing. And when you do the test, nothing will happen. Maybe you might have taken antihistaminics or whatever happened. You have to inquire into that and find this. Sometimes you may not establish at all. Sometimes it may be positive. It is maybe and may not be explained in the history also. Some 2 or 3 times may be required to sit with the patient to discuss about that. We talked about in vitro testing and vivo testing. How do you compare it both? That is the thing. Skin prick test is a gold standard. Very simple, sensitive specificity, very good. Strong clinical correlation will be there. False positives are very less. Immediate result. Patient can see immediately in front of their eyes and the belief of the disease about the results very easily compared to the immunocap one. Very cheap, less expensive compared to the in vitro testing. Drugs and venoms can be whatever you want to test, you can able to do. Intradermal test, in skin prick test you can. It is more of an allergist point of view, allergist domain, we can call. No calibration is required. Where immunocap you need a calibration. Whereas here, immunocap is more expensive, and only advantage is that it's a very small amount of blood is reading. You can do great for screening purpose, you can able to do. Even if you're not able to stop antihistamine like urticaria, where you cannot able to stop it, there you can able to do this test. Food allergies, where food allergy overgrown or not, we can able to make out. Safe in children, those who are afraid of needles, or those who have got anaphylaxis, who are afraid to do the test, some people. And we need a very expensive equipment, and for the place and all required. That's why its cost will go up. It is more of a general practice, the way anyone can do it. And it must be done for allergic bronchopulmonary aspergillosis. We can do for very young children also, because where skin prick test, most of the people, allergists only do, other people cannot do, then you can able to do the in vitro testing. Then let me talk about intradermal test. This also done in volar aspect. What you see in the picture also same thing. We use 26 cm gauge needle. Bevel down only we have to use, just like what you do in the Monto test we used to do. That same way you can able to inject 0.01, 0.02. You have to produce 3 millimeter BEP. That is very important. No air in the syringe. And you must see that the amount be injected must be correct, 0.01 or 0.2. If you injected more, you'll get false positive. Inject less, negative results will get. That is the one thing. Where we do in the allergic rhinitis, asthma, respiratory allergies or food allergies, where you do normally skin prick test is to, but history suggesting, then we can do intradermal test. Then most probably we can able to do it. More sensitive than skin prick test because the concentration is very, very high. I told you already. And false positive reactions are very high. If you do with the food, we can get anaphylaxis also. Be careful with the intradermal test. Normally, we practice intradermal test for the venom allergies and drug allergies where skin prick test negative. There is another test is called prick-to-prick test. A lot of parents will come to us, ask the patient, my child is definitely allergic to banana, allergic to apple, allergic to so many vegetables. There's so many things they go on. So that to prove to the mother that even history says, but we are doing skin prick negative, then you prick that whatever the liquid one and then press it, so that we can see that patient that this is called prick to prick test. We can able to do, and also we can able to oral allergy syndrome also we can able to do this. This is the thing what I told you how to do it. See bleb, 3 millimeter bleb you can see here. That's one thing what you can able to plan for the drugs and venoms. My dear friend, I already told you, all of you, that positive means only sensitization to oil. Does not mean it's not a allergy disease. Negative test does not mean allergy, already told. You must be interpreted with the clinical history only. Clinical history and SPT will guide you. So we have to know that whether it is genuine allergy or cross-reactivity or false positivity by only correlating with the clinical history. For that, knowledge, experience of clinician is very, very important. Summary, I already told you everything, how to do it and how to interpret it, the highly safe procedure skin prick test, how to compare between skin prick test with the in vitro test. The burden of allergies is immense globally as well as in India. Please understand that daily and yearly we are seeing increase of allergies. More and more awareness is coming out and more of allergy diseases are coming. We need better management of allergy disease to give quality of life to our patients. And we have to diagnose appropriately. Nowadays, patients ask us, what allergy I got? I want to know. Like that, parents are asking nowadays. So for that, skin prick test or blood test will be very, very useful. Skin prick test is a manual technique that requires training, skill, and expertise. Please understand that thing. You have to learn your own technique. Don't say that it's very easy to practice. Very difficult. Sometimes wrong results may occur. Allergy testing is clinical interpretation is both art and science. It requires your experience and your technique is more important. Probably the most reliable and clinically valuable and cost-effective test is allergy skin prick test. Standardized allergen extract is necessary. Don't use non-standardized to get a good results. Thank you for this opportunity given to me by DAAP. Thank you very much for all of you who has listened this talk.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Nagaraju sir. We pay homage to you and explained very well from A to Z about the allergic skin prick tests. Everything was explained. And any questions, anything, sir? Any comments? Dr. Upinaran Reddy sir, Dr. Tanu Bhadra sir.
So actually, Major Nagaraju was main pillar of this module, and his authenticity and his conviction always showed in his presentations.
Yes. Yes, very well said, sir. And sir, by seeing his even recorded voice, it is unbelievable that he's no more, na? And we feel as if he's just talking to us. Myself, Dr. Upinaran Reddy, always we talk whenever we listen to this, sir. It is really, we pay homage to him, and we promise him that we'll be taking his message of the allergy module, CADE module, to each and every part of the country. We are working in that. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now, Dr. Atanu Bhadra, sir, you need no introduction. Great academician and very hardworking, very friendly to all, and loving and affectionate. And our EB North Zone, East Zone from the Vice President from the East Zone this year. And we invite you to deliver your illustrative talk on the chronic urticaria, which is a very, I'll say, the very common day-to-day problem in pediatrics. Atanu Bhadra, sir, please.
Oh, thank you, Devendra, sir. Thank you. And okay. I hope the screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Screen and voice both. We can listen very well to your voice, and the screen is also very well visible.
Thank you, Devendra sir and Rupin sir, for giving me the chance of giving a deliberate presentation of this part of the module. And we'll end. This is the ending part of the module, but one of the most commonest examples of allergy that, as office practitioners, we encounter in their chambers. And the word urticaria actually is a condition where we have a development of wheals, angioedema, or both. They are actually a vascular reaction of the skin, smooth, elevated papules, plaques, wheals, whatever you say. But you remember that they will always resolve without scarring. They may be recurrent, and it's very important whether it's less than 6 weeks or greater than 6 weeks. We'll come to the classification about acute and chronic urticaria. What is the causative or the trigger of developing the urticaria? And remember that this is really something that has been there for years and years, hundreds of years rather. And way back in 1000 BC, the Yolo Emperor's Inner Classic, the famous Chinese document, we had the first knowledge of urticaria there, and it was known as Feng Yanjing. So it's not only COVID virus that had originated from China. Even urticaria first was observed in China, and that was way back in 1000 BC. Coming down to Hippocrates in 377 BC, who called it nidosis. Nido means nettles, and this is the plant, this is a flowering plant which caused allergies in those days. It even causes this now. It's very known for causing urticaria. Anyone coming in contact with this plant has a possibility of developing urticaria, and so it was known as nidosis at that time. Coming back to the 10th century, it was Ali Bus al-Abba, that was the Arabian scholar, who called this esera, or elevation. So that referred to the wheels that was raised above the surface. So we can see that it is something that is very much there for years, hundreds of years, and the physicians, all the doctors, they were aware of this fact. And these are the rashes that we always see almost every day in our chambers, in office practice. Here the children presenting with articarial rashes. And angioedema, of course, it's a pronounced erythematous swelling of the lower dermis and subcutis or mucous membranes. Remember that here in urticaria, we say that itch is very prominent, and without itching, you cannot say that it's urticaria. But in angioedema, of course, the child will also sometimes complain of pain rather than the itch. So pain is much more important there. Pain, burning sensation, these are much more important presentation in cases of angioedema rather than the itch. And remember that the resolution of angioedema is very much slower than that of Wills and can take almost up to 72 years. So what is the impact of urticaria? Why we are so very worried about children suffering from urticaria? Because This urticaria prevents the children's ability to participate in normal activities. The sleeping patterns are disturbed. There is emotional stress, impacting negatively on attendance at school, the learning, the cognition, academic achievement. Everything gets involved. As children, if you disturb one part of one component of the stress factor, everything gets disturbed. And overall, the quality of life also gets disturbed. Remember the will formation, we should always remember that it's because of the histamine and other mediators that are released from the activated skin mast cells. We'll come to it. There are different features of these. First, the sensory nerve activation leading to vasodilatation, finally to plasma extravasation and cell recruitment to articarial lesions. And remember that the positive triggers may be autoantibodies, and the autoantibodies may be directed at the receptors located at the skin mast cells. The FcRI receptors are very prominent in these cases. So all this leads, this is the basics of a will. The prevalence for all urticaria is 8.8%. So about 100 children, almost 10 of them will suffer from urticaria some part of their life. And chronic urticaria develop in around 30 to 45% of all these individuals. So it's almost equal presentation of acute and chronic. And urticaria can occur in all age groups, and adults are more common in such cases. And female are predominantly more affected than males, both in the children group and in adult group. And prevalence of chronic urticaria is slightly higher in atopic population. In fact, atopy means allergy, and chronic urticaria, remember, is one part of that. So definitely atopic children, atopic people, they were more prone to have a presentation of chronic urticaria in some part of their life. So coming to the classification, we had already discussed the 6 weeks is a cutoff. Less than 6 weeks, you have acute urticaria. Chronic urticaria is, of course, more than 6 weeks. The wheels coming in and going, the features persisting for more than 6 weeks. It's chronic urticaria. If it is inducible urticaria, they can be reproduced by some triggers, maybe physical or non-physical. And chronic spontaneous urticaria, no apparent triggers, but it coming up by itself. 75% of chronic urticaria, we do not have any specific reasons for that. No specific triggers can be identified. And of course, one part of spontaneous urticaria is the autoimmune urticaria that we had been talking about. Functional autoantibodies targeting the IgE skin mast cells, the receptors located on the skin mast cells. And idiopathic urticaria, predominantly a part of chronic spontaneous urticaria. Again, we do not know any reason for this. So a major part of chronic urticaria is idiopathic. A major part of that whole part of chronic urticaria, we do not know any specific reason or any triggers. So let's come to some case presentations. Who is 11 years old, developing papular pruritic rashes after coming from playing. Another baby, 5 years, maybe me, developing rashes after taking a hot shower. Another child, 15 years now, develop wheals after swimming in a swimming pool. Case 4, this 8-year-old developing frequent rashes over shoulders lasting more than 24 hours, which pains more than each and disappears during school vacations. Consider these are all different presentations of urticaria. In one of coming after playing, one after taking hot showers, that is aquagenic urticaria, and one after coming after swimming. The other one is, of course, pressure due to the school bag that he carries to the school, and that's why this urticaria disappears during school vacations. So inducible urticaria, it might be pressure, it might be cholinergic, elevation of body temperature with exercise, hot water, strong emotion, spicy food, cold contact urticaria, cold air, cold objects, cold liquids, heat contact, warm object, exercise induced. If the child plays exercise activity, then it comes in with articurial rashes, aquagenic urticaria, skin contact with water at any temperature. So we have to be on the lookout of all these points when we have a child presenting with urticaria, and they may be the presentation might be varied. So these are common, some are less common, but rare variants are the solar and vibratory. If there is some vibration that is placed on the skin, you get urticaria. You have solar, someone going out in the sun gets articurial rashes. So these are rare, but they do happen. And parents come with children who suffer from urticaria because we have to be on the lookout of all these points. So symptomatic dermographism, general pruritus and wheals on friction, scratching or stroking of the skin. The mucous membrane, remember that there is unaffected, and hence there is no presentation of angioedema. Loose clothing aggravates this because of more frictions due to the skin, and this is a very good presentation. Once you see this, you will never forget when you see it in practically when a child comes into a chamber. So this you all know, this is carrying school bags, the pressure point and the shoulders, and these are there is prolonged sitting or lying, tight clothing, and here is pressure urticaria, delayed pressure urticaria, and they may be the wheals and swelling may last for more than 24 hours. Pain might be a feature presenting along with each, and the distribution is very typical over the areas where the pressure comes in. Cholinergic urticaria, transitory pruritic, severely pruritic, symmetrical maculopapular rashes, trunk, neck, and limbs, triggered by exercise and emotional stress, and will resolve in 1 to 2 years, doesn't stay for years and years, and finally children will outgrow this cholinergic urticaria. Chronic spontaneous autoimmune urticaria, we had been talking about this with tests available to screen the autologous serum skin test, the basophil activation test. This will confirm that yes, they have auto-IG antibodies, and they can have chronic urticaria. So these are the features of an autologous skin test. This is the presentation of how it looks when you do almost like a skin prick test. The chronic spontaneous idiopathic urticaria, the workout, despite extensive workout, we cannot find any direct cause or any direct trigger. And there may be a pseudo-allergic reaction to food or NSAIDs. Common, many children, sometimes some of the children, they cannot take any paracetamol or ibuprofen because they have allergic or urticarial features coming in after taking these medicines. So majority of them are chronic urticaria. So history is important. An approach as urticarial performer can be given to the applied to the parents, how their child experiences the symptoms of urticaria, how long they stay, at which time, which skin symptoms are predominant, whether it's wheals, the angioedema, or both, and whether each is present or not. And of course, a thorough clinical history, whether there is a particular food or contact to a particular allergen or a drug, or whether the individual lesions, they last more than 24 hours, or does the skin show any evidence of residual petechial hemorrhage, purpura, or bruising. So these are all very important, and all those will lead to a diagnosis. Remember, this is almost a clinical diagnosis initially, because when we start the treatment, we have to give the child immediate relief from the itching or burning sensation. So a thorough clinical history is needed, whether there has been any previous therapy and response to therapy, including dose and duration, should be taken. And the other points we have already discussed here about onset, the associated angioedema, and other features. So duration of a rash will give you a clue. Remember, the shortest one are the inducible urticarias. They go away with 1 to 2 hours. Contact urticaria remain for 2 to 3 hours. Spontaneous urticaria will remain for 24 hours, and urticarial vasculitis will stay for more than 48 hours. So even in urticarial vasculitis, there is more a burning sensation than an itching. So there are plenty of tests, but yes, initially we have to be alert clinically and we have to take a history. And we can finally, we have mild stroking of the skin with tip of pen, and that will give symptomatic dermographism. We can do a shoulder sling with weight of 7 kg placed over 15 minutes. Patient records the symptoms over 24 hours, and that's a delayed pressure urticaria. The cholinergic urticaria, we have exercises with the stationary bike for 15 minutes beyond onset. These are actually, we are putting the trigger and trying to bring out what causes the urticaria in this particular child. Cold contact, the ice cube test, putting an ice cube for 5 minutes on arm, and heat contact, application of a test tube containing warm water at 44 degrees centigrade, exercise-induced urticaria, the treadmill testing or the exercise bicycle, the aquagenic urticaria, application of water compress to the trunk or water immersion for 10 minutes will bring out urticaria if the child is prone to aquagenic urticaria. So these are all the small tests, more of which can apply to all these children and find out whether the parents are telling an accurate description of whatever is happening at home. So extended diagnostic workup based on history is very important. You can find out if you can bring up an idea of what is causing this chronic urticaria or acute urticaria, then probably we can narrow down our tests to the basic tests, differential blood count, CRP, SR, as also the other features. We must rule out other infectious diseases. We have to rule out the functional autoantibodies, the thyroid gland disorders, very common overlapping situations, allergies, skin tests that Raju had described so very vividly about the skin prick test, the concomitant chronic inducible urticarias, severe systemic diseases, and other features. So the workup should be aimed at ruling out other features and finally narrowing down to urticaria, and finally what is causing this urticaria if possible, because remember, almost in 60 to 75% cases this urticaria would definitely be idiopathic. So specific IG urticaria panel is not recommended for chronic spontaneous urticaria. IG mediated food allergy is very rare, though we have to take a history, but normally food allergy doesn't chronic spontaneous urticaria. Skin prick test, of course, can be advised in those situations where a clear link is found with specific food items, and if negative, patients can be reassured that the condition is non-allergic. Monitoring should be done, the articarial positive activity score, and this assesses the disease activity in patients with chronic spontaneous urticaria, or we can administer the quality of life questionnaire also for chronic urticaria. The articarial control test can be administered for assessing the disease control in patients with chronic spontaneous urticaria. So we can have an activity score, we have a quality of life questionnaire, and we have an articarial control test, because these are all, of course, applied to adults, and no validated disease-specific tools exist for children as of now. So this is the articarial activity score, just to know, because we can't apply it to children. It's for adults, and of course for children who are adolescents. Probably we can do this articarial activity score. So less than 6 is very well controlled, more than 7 is mild, so above 16 moderate, and above 28 to 42 is very severe according to the Articurial Activity Score, US. So 7, under 7 is our aim, and above 7 we have to be alert. So this is the Articurial quality control test, where we can administer this again with a caution, with a caveat that it is for adults, and we can take a history about what happened, or how was the treatment, how often the treatment was needed for the last 4 weeks, what is the control achieved, how was the person suffering from urticaria for the last 4 weeks. These are all taken up in the control tests. So the treatment approach, the goal of treatment is to treat the disease until it's gone. So we need immediate relief, and of course we have to give immediate relief whenever it presents, and probably the child will outgrow urticaria and it doesn't stay there permanently. So the basic principle of treating is as much as needed and as little as possible. And this may mean stepping up and stepping down, just like in asthma, in wheeze, and everywhere related to allergies. So drugs, NSAIDs, they should be eliminated. The physical stimuli that should be taken care of, particularly bags, heavy bags, carrying of heavy bags should be discouraged. Eradication of infectious agents and treatment of inflammatory processes, reduction of emotional stress, reduction of functional autoantibodies, and plasmapheresis. Even plasmapheresis can be considered, though it's very rare for autoantibody positive CSU patients who are unresponsible to all other forms of treatment. And of course, dietary management is IG-mediated food allergy. We have already said that is very extremely rare, but if identified, then total elimination of the food that is causing this thing. Tolerance induction, useful some subtypes of urticaria, that is cold urticaria, cholinergic urticaria, and solar urticaria. A consistent daily exposure to the stimulus, which is the culprit, just at the threshold level is required. Daily cold baths and showers for anyone suffering from cold urticaria will of course give rise to tolerance induction, and the child will outgrow cold urticaria. So pharmacological treatment, again, to use as much as needed and as little as possible. Symptomatic relief is very much needed, and remember that to reduce the effect of mast cell mediators and like histamine on the target organs. We have to give H1 antihistaminics, and intake of an antihistaminic 2 hours prior to the activity, wherever there is physical urticaria, that is exercise or any other cold or solar one. You have to take it at least 2 hours prior for activity. Second generation antihistaminics were already, Dr. Parmesh had said very strongly that we can't give first generation, we have to give second generation of antihistaminics to the children to preserve their quality of life. So the first generation have anticholinergic effects and sedative actions. They penetrate the blood-brain barrier. These are the negative points. That's why they impact the rapid eye movement, sleep, and impact on learning and performance. So no to the H1. We have to administer the second generation antihistaminics only. So we are strong message not to use first generation antihistaminics, both for adults and especially for children, whom we look for. So the first line treatment, fexofenadine, cetirizine, desloratadine, levocetirizine, and all the whole lot to be taken regularly for the treatment. And remember, we often using different antihistaminics, 2 antihistaminics at the same time, we should not be, is not recommended now, and step up to 2 times if not achieved control. So we can step up, you cannot add another antihistaminics. We can step up the dose of one of the antihistaminics that we're using and reach the almost twice the dose that is normally given. Corticosteroids, a short course of prednisolone in acute exacerbation of chronic urticaria, that it can be given added to antihistaminics if not controlled with antihistaminics alone. So lesser than standard dose is sufficient to reduce activity. Almost as little as 0.3 to 0.5 milligram per kg per day can be given. Remember, you cannot give it for long term, do not need to give it for long term, and not to be repeated often, especially in children, because of that effects on their height measurement, etc. No role of topical steroids except for the urticaria that comes in soles. Montelukast, limited role only in aspirin-induced urticaria and food additive intolerance in adults. No studies available in pediatric. No studies is available in pediatric age group. So no role of Montelukast, no role of the fixed preparation, Montelukast and antihistaminic, and no role of H2 antagonist, ranitidine especially. So all this you don't need to give. We already need to give second generation antihistaminics and can go up to double the dose. For treatment of chronic urticaria and symptomatic dermographism, PUVA therapy, UVB, for 1 to 3 months can be added to antihistaminic treatment in adults. But again, no studies are available in children, and hence we do not need to discuss this. So again, was a 14-year-old was referred with articurial rashes on and off since last 3 months, had been taking hydroxyzine antihistaminic intermittently with brief relief, was advised again Montelukast for 6 weeks, wrong advice, but didn't respond, received oral corticosteroid twice at 2 milligram per kg per day for 21 days. So what is the diagnosis? Of course, it's a chronic spontaneous urticaria with no apparent triggers. And what was the wrong? We can now, after having this presentation, we can now know that a second generation antihistaminic was not selected and should have been given for 3 months, not to give it for a short period of time. And the child came back after 2 weeks with persistence of symptoms. We can step up the dose of twice the times, again step up the dose for 3 to 4 times. Most respond to this, say, through only this therapy. So unfortunately, this child did not respond to higher doses of second generation. So what? So allergist opinion should always be taken in such cases for supervised management, and omalizumab is offered at 150 milligram to 300 milligrams subcutaneously monthly for 3 to 6 months, again with the advice of an allergologist. And so this is the algorithm. Second generation H1 antihistaminic should be started. We can increase up to 4 times. If it doesn't respond, control is not achieved, we can add omalizumab, but with an advice of an allergologist. And finally, if that also is inadequate control, if in that case also we can give cyclosporine. So prognosis, it's a self-limited disorder, nothing to be afraid of in nearly all the patients. 50% they become better in 6 months, another 20% by 3 years, and a further 20% by 5 years, with just 8% persisting for more than 10 years. So whatever you do, remember that it will go away finally over 5 years. Only 8% will persist for more than 10 years. The severity of urticaria, of course, may fluctuate, and spontaneous remission may occur at any time. So it is recommended to reevaluate the necessity for continued alternative drug treatment every 3 to 6 months, depending on whether this urticaria is present or not. So to summarize the whole presentation, urticaria is something that severely affects quality of life. So we need to treat aggressively. Thorough history taking is must in articarial management. In 60 to 70% of chronic urticaria, cause may not be found. It's an idiopathic in nature. investigations depending only on the history, and an extensive IG or IgG panel allergy tests are not recommended in chronic ataria, and as IG-mediated food allergies are very rare and not often the cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Atanu Badra sir. Very well explained every aspect of the chronic urticaria. You very well enumerated the causes, etiopathogenesis, clinical features, relevant investigations, and very well the algorithm treatment. You emphasize very well that the second generation antihistaminics are the drugs of choice, and the step-up therapy and doubling the doses is also one of the thing, and the two antihistaminics should not be used at a time. You very well said that the Montelukast studies are not available in the children of their beneficial road, and the corticosteroids, if they are used, they should be used even for a very small duration, not for a longer time. And the limited, very limited role of the topical corticosteroid. If the child is not controlled with the antihistaminics, they're then upgrading them, and then also by the use of the corticosteroid, then only the immunomodulator should be used. Very well explained, sir. And on behalf of the CADE module, Dr. Upinarayan Reddy, sir, I want to congratulate Dr. Atanu Badra, sir. It was a very crispy and to the point with the well case scenarios also very well. Was I audible?
Yeah, last part.
Yeah,
only
audible,
the last
audible.
sentence. Yeah.
I was audible?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
audible,
audible.
sir. Only the last line. Last line was.
I said that Dr. Atanu Badra, sir, very crispy, very informative, and very well summarized. And so much of the with the scientific knowledge you explained very well, sir. Congratulations, and we feel okay. Now,
Excellent presentation, sir. Atanu Badra has become allergy specialist now because he explained very confidently talking. I think everything you covered, sir. I think because this is it affect the quality of life. You go on shopping different doctors. Main problem is they stop medicine, they take low dose, sir. When the child is already stopped medicine, again child recurs. Go on shopping different doctors, different treatment they take. So that is the problem, sir. So when counseling, first visit, you have to spend more time, counsel them, taken continuously for 3 to 6 months. Minimum 6 months has to be taken, sir. At least minimum dose, effective. If it is responding to average dose, continue. You can double the dose. 90% they respond to double or triple dose, sir. Very rarely require four-time dose. That is very important point. They have to tell them. Of course, as you said, investigation should not be unnecessary because most of them are idiopathic, and of course, physical urticaria have to roll out by history. And very rarely we need investigation, sir. Most of the time they respond to your treatment. Counseling is important. You have spent more time. That is very important. And then they have faith in you. Definitely, child will respond. The remission is there, 50%. They go on remission. Then they will permanently, the permanent cure may be there. Thank you, sir. Excellent, sir. Any question, chat box, sir? Devendra sir?
No.
No questions. And it was very self-explanatory presentation. Very well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we had very good 2 days our CADE workshop. Dr.
Yes, sir.
Reddy, sir, in the Bengal, and we had a very good with all the cooperation of Dr. Atanu Badra, sir, and his team. It was very well deliberated. Now, Dr. Upinarayan Reddy, sir, vote of thanks from your side.
Thanks, sir. I thank everyone, particularly IAP Bengal, Kolkata. I think is an excellent presentation by Atanu sir and all faculty, Parmesh sir, Sukumaran sir, and Joe sir. Definitely, it is a very excellent topic to use, very useful for practicing pediatrician. Very practical, very very important. I think as you see, every day, every alternate third patient you are having some allergy. So that's why it is very important model, very useful model for practicing pediatrician. Thank you, sir. Good night, sir. Meet you Varnasi, sir. Atanu sir.
Okay.
Meet you Varnasi.
We can
Yes,
join
thank you,
the
sir.
India-Pakistan cricket match. The Pakistan is giving the target of 150 runs. And Dr. Atanu Batra sir, you have reduced weight. Atanu Batra sir, you have lost weight some. You have reduced your weight. Looking more
Yeah,
young.
he's looking very fit young now. With allergy model, I think he's very energetic and looking young and young.
I am not allergic to food, sir. I will go to Rajasthan and have it, sir.
No, sir. Should eat what you feel, sir. Should not eat over.
Yes.
Should enjoy.
Yes.
We should enjoy food, sir. What you
Food.
like should eat, sir. I should not restrict. Should not afraid of anything. God is there.
Right.
But limit, sir. Should not overeat. Should not overeat. That is the only thing. And do some walking, exercise, good sleep. And if you do service to society, definitely you enjoy the life.
And
Definitely.
always
Thank you, sir.
Always remain smiling and happy. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
Decrease of stress.
Enjoy the
Thank you,
lot.
sir. Thank you.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Good night. Good night, sir. Good night.
Good night.